Oh, hit the wrong one right there. Whoops. What's happening, guys? It's Saturday, so let's stream again. Why not? Hope you guys are doing good. Yeah, just doing a Saturday stream and open to all members and Patreon people if you want to join. If you're part of it, I posted the links on both the members only stream as well as the Patreon. So yeah, if you want to join in on the panel, do it. How we doing out there, guys? Huh? Let's see who we got. Rodney, what's going on? No, he should be, better booster goal. I think a lot of people think that. Yeah, I just chose that as the title of the stream tonight because that's going around. Because apparently, and I always hate this too, but it's always one of those things where everybody starts doing like their detective work. And I don't know how people figure that stuff out. It's kind of weird. But yeah, one of the topics of discussion, I mean, it's literally even right here on the Explore column when it comes to Twitter. It says, Glen Powell's Batman buzz, DC fans divided. That sounds like an AI-generated headline. Probably is. But yeah, so apparently he followed James Gunn and Andy Muschietti, probably like Rachel Brosnahan, various DCU people. So a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, is he gonna be Batman?" And I'm just, why? No, not Batman. He doesn't have Batman. But I thought the thumbnail kind of was funny. I was like, hey, how can I make the thumbnail funny? One of the reasons why I don't think he'd be right for Batman is because he's just a very grinny, smiley kind of guy. And it's like, that's not really Batman if you think about it. So anyways, let's see. All right. So yeah, thank you for that. We got Eric right here, of course. Good to see you. Got the wine flowing again. We got RJ here. What's going on? We got Taladia Plays. What's happening? We got Fear Jason. Travis. I like Glenn, but nah, he's no Batman. Yeah. I think the general consensus is mainly that, nah, he's really not Batman. Alec Azu, what is going on? I hope that Snyder will be on the Vodka stream soon to talk about Rebel Moon Director's Cut. Yeah, well, he's a busy man, though, so... Who knows? Chris, what's happening? Well, Hello there, members. I just finished Cobra Kai Part 1. And man, it's off a heavy of a cliffhanger. I can't wait for Part 2. Yeah, I thought about watching that today, but I watched The Boys, trying to catch up on The Boys today. So I watched, 2 or 3 episodes of The Boys today. So I'm on episode 7. So getting close to getting done with that. This season has been, it hasn't been as great as some of the other seasons, but still pretty shocking. Poor Huey. Just poor Huey. My God, that guy's going through some shit when it comes to this season. That's for damn sure. Poor guy. What's going on, Jay? He's too short. David is 6'4". He'd eclipse him. They need an actor who's 6'2". I don't even know how tall Glen Powell is. Yeah, so what's going on, Axel? Good to see you, buddy. We got Cortez right here. I wanted him as Booster Gold. I think a lot of people did. That or Hal Jordan, And then we got Thwip. First member stream. There we go. Like it. Stick with the fan cast of Glenn being Harvey Dent. Yeah, I could see him as a Harvey Dent. Definitely could see that. What's going on, Abel? Great to see ya. Let's see here. Trying to see. Hold on a sec. All right, so we got that, and then of course we got Phil right here. Glen Powell, 6 foot, so he's not short, not a short guy. I don't know. I think like again, I think we're looking way too into it, but at the same time, it's always good to speculate, especially when we're wondering who is going to be that DCU Batman. But yeah, I don't see Glen Powell being it, but it is interesting that he followed everybody. If that's actually what happened, again, I don't do the detective work that some people do. But, it's always very interesting. Anyways, all right, let's go ahead and start bringing some peeps in here. All right, first off, hey, what's going on, RJ?
Hey, what's up, Dave?
How you doing?
Doing good. It's been an eventful week, getting stuff worked out with the new job and everything, so.
Oh, yeah, how's that going?
Pretty good. Yeah, just filing some paperwork and stuff. And then I start orientation, I think July 29th. And then school year starts August 5th. So.
Oh, that's right. Because it's for substitute teaching or regular teaching?
No. It's a full-blown education job. I think it's paraeducator, I think is what's called. So.
Okay. Yeah. Are you teaching something specific?
Kind of just helping out in the classroom. It's kind of like one of those gateway jobs before you do a full-time teaching job. But it's like that, get your foot in the door kind of place,
Like a TA kind of thing, like a teacher's assistant, or
yeah, kind of
in that way. Okay,
a little more elaborate, but
yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's cool. Congratulations on that, man. Hopefully it works out.
Yeah, I'm excited too, but it's just been lot. Next couple weeks are gonna be crazy. So
I'm sure, especially with the new school year starting for sure. Yeah,
mm-hmm. So. That and paperwork and all that, and then
always fun.
Learning about the fun stuff like insurances. So much fun.
Oh God, yeah.
So,
yeah. The logistics of all that stuff, kind of a pain. And we got Taladia Plays. What's happening?
Hey, what's up, Dave?
How you doing?
RJ? I'm good, man. I'm good. It's been a busy month for me.
Yeah, feel ya. That's cool. But thank you for dropping by.
No problem.
Yeah, we got Phil joining right here. Good to see you again, sir.
What up,
nice
gentlemen?
Shirt. Yeah.
Thank you. This is a vintage one from when the game released. GameStop exclusive.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the Arkham City shirt. Nice. Then we got Mr. Eric Hardboiled. What is happening, sir?
Hey, brother. How you doing?
How's it going, man? How you been?
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, it's I'll say it was like a week. It was pretty shocking a week ago, but I'll say this: the week since has been pretty cool.
Yeah. That's right. Like a week ago. Yeah, that all happened. It's funny because I was at a pool party. I was going to post a picture of hey, because everybody kept on saying, where were you when Donald Trump almost got assassinated?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I was half drunk in a pool. So
yeah,
I was in my hotel room watching Madam Web.
I was. Look, I was
just had disaster on my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was
And
I?
it's kind of like where were you? Like for me, it's like where was I when I first heard that? When I heard that the news broke that Osama bin Laden was dead. Well, I was at my at my college dorm room watching Inglorious Bastards, and just when I finished, I turned on the news and bin Laden's dead. So there you go. Yeah,
I don't remember where I was when it came to that. The one significant historical death, I guess you could say, of an icon that I remembered pretty distinctively is like when Princess Diana died. I remember when that happened. I remember specifically this was back in what, 96, 97, something like that.
97.
97. I remember it was Saturday night, and this is before, of course, we have all the technology, the glorious technology at our fingertips right now. So I remember being home, and HBO would always premiere their new movie at like 8:00. You know, a new movie that was like brand new to, of course, the channel, and I was like desperately awaiting to watch Escape from LA. And I watched Escape from LA, and then I remember just like changing the channel, and I was flipping through the channel, and I kept seeing like the same messed up car. I'm going, what the hell's going on here? And sure enough, then you just go, oh shit. It was like on every channel. But yeah, I was watching Escape from LA, which that's a movie that I don't need to watch ever again. Watch the original. That's about it. You know, but
hey, Escape from LA has listen. The Bruce Campbell scene is the best part of the movie.
That
one
I'll
you can
give you that.
Watch that clip.
It's not all bad. It's not all bad, but it definitely is a.
It's a very different movie than the first one. It's very different.
Very different, right?
Yeah, but as far as where were you? Where was I when I heard the news that Trump was shot? Well, I was at work. I mean, that day I was at work. I was like taking a break, so I was skimming through like the Google whatever, and it's like, whoa, Trump was shot, son of a gun.
Yeah, my little cousin, she goes, "Oh my God, somebody tried to kill Trump," and I'm like, "No, they didn't. What are you talking about?"
Yeah,
like showed the picture. I'm like, "That's fake." And then I went, "Wait a minute." And then and then we just kind of like didn't really talk about it. And then I started scrolling through my feed and went, "Oh shit, yeah, they did try to kill the guy."
Exactly.
Well, it doesn't help when you have like all the AI stuff. I know you just like Twitter. Yeah, they do use AI now to write their little explore blogs now. So it's all like, oh.
Yeah, that's why I just read that title. That's about Glen Powell's Batman buzz. DC fans divided.
Yeah,
very AI
back
driven.
then, they used to have people like those they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, speaking of Glen Powell, it's like everyone's talking about who would you cast Glen Powell as. Honestly, because like my first thought, of course, like a lot of people, was Hal Jordan because Top Gun, Hal Jordan. But the more I think about it, I'm thinking Guy Gardner. It's ironic because Guy Gardner's already cast, but honestly, like Glen Powell, he has that on the one, like especially his character from Top Gun. On the one hand, he's a douche, but on the other hand, he's totally charming. So with that in mind, it's like, yeah, I could see him being Guy Gardner.
Yeah, he probably could have fit that mold a little bit. Put that bowl cut on him, it probably would have worked. But Nathan Fillion is going to do a good job of playing that douchebaggery type of Guy Gardner. Which
is ironic because Nathan Fillion was everybody's Hal Jordan when he voiced Hal Jordan before.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I know, it's kind of funny how all that came about. Hey, we got Rhea here joining back.
Hi, Rhea.
Hello.
Hey, Rhea. Hey, Rhea, how you doing?
Howdy. Doing well. How are y'all?
Good.
Good.
I feel like I just talked to you.
I know. I think we.
I know it's uncanny.
How's you guys' Comic-Con prep going?
We literally just had a meeting about that maybe an hour and a half ago. So
nice.
It's been cool.
Prepping.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, if you guys, whatever you guys, if you guys are pushing some video, pushing some things, I'll be here, and
trust me,
I'll probably be live
rooting
streaming.
Yeah,
I'll probably be live streaming too, like I said. And if you guys need, if you guys want to push things, join panels, whatever the fuck.
I appreciate that because some people are also jealous, and they're
what?
They're openly jealous, like they're being kind of shitty about it too. But it's whatever.
Oh, really? I'm sorry.
It's whatever. It's no big deal. Not a big deal at all.
Well,
I'm
rooting.
how are you going to
I'm
shit on
rooting
someone
you
for going to
guys getting
Comic-Con?
the
Like,
I mean,
what?
I mean, some people are just mad that like I don't even want to get into it, honestly. I'm just happy to go to Comic-Con. It's gonna be
No,
awesome.
That's all you got to
Thank
be.
you,
You can't-
man.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta
They
be
have a
excited
problem.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they
I
have a
think-
problem, fuck them. You know.
Yep. Yeah.
No,
Well, the-
seriously. I'm trying not to like get too overwhelmed because I'm just like, oh, there's just so much to do, and then there's
Oh,
obviously like the
Mhm.
priority stuff, like obviously like the Hall H stuff, and then there's also like
I
other-
can just
other
tell you
panels
right
that
now,
aren't necessarily
Saturday's
there.
gonna be crazy. It's gonna be
Saturday
crazy.
is gonna be
Saturday is
crazy.
gonna be insane. Yeah.
Yeah, so
What-
I
yeah.
think I plan on streaming during the Marvel Studios Marvel Studios panel. I mean, I know there's not going to be actual live feed, but there's going to be things being fed out. So I'm like, all right, might as well
I
just
forget the
stream
name
next
of the
Saturday.
website, but there was I did a stream 2 years ago where I live reacted to it. There's a really good live blog where they have somebody there who just types out
Yeah,
the pictures and writes everything as it's happening.
yeah.
So they,
I
they
mean,
did a really good job 2 years ago when they had that panel.
yeah, I'll probably search for like a good one, a good Twitter feed, or and then of course, like I said, you guys will be there, and yeah, it'll be fun because it's always just like cool to like do that because it's everybody's wanting to discuss and talk about what's happening there, and I'm sure there's going to be pure madness going on in
Well,
all
there's a
ages.
panel going on. It's kind of flown under the radar, but somebody informed me about this. So I guess Kevin Feige is going to be there for a big Marvel panel on Friday as well.
Friday.
Ooh.
And he's never
That's
done
some
that
tea,
before.
folks. That's some tea, folks. You heard it here first.
Yeah, like he's never gone to a panel with like the comics people before.
That's
so there's
That's
kind
cool.
of rumors that there might be something on Friday going on too. They might be making an announcement about the comics of it.
Well, that's good. It's like, you got to also push the comics. I mean, one of the things that I think that James Gunn was smart about when it came to starting DC Studios is to very much push the comic books and associate the comic books a lot. And that helped a little, it's helped a little bit when it came to announcements. And after the DC slate, certain books were like lifting off the shelves or
Woman
selling
of
out.
Tomorrow, specifically, that was sold out for a good number of weeks when they announced
Exactly.
that movie. Everyone was buying that trade.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna ask. So is CinemaCon still a thing? Because I don't hear many people talking about it.
Yeah.
It happened. It happens every April in Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, Phil, what were you showing?
Batman and Son by Grant Morrison.
Oh. Ooh.
Book that is the basis for The Brave and the Bold.
Yeah. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yep.
I like it. Rhea, what do you think about Glen Powell as Batman?
Well, I didn't see Top Gun Maverick, so like I'm not familiar with his, signature delivery style that people are talking about. Like
Yeah.
so yeah, I can't comment, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is kind of funny how he came out of nowhere, but didn't really come out of nowhere because then all of a sudden people go, well, he was in this movie, and that movie, and this movie, and that
Did
movie.
you guys know he was in Spy Kids and Dark
I
Knight
didn't.
Rises?
Long
I
time
totally
ago.
didn't
No,
know
Yeah.
that.
I knew he was in
Yeah.
Dark Knight Rises, but I
Yeah.
had no idea he was in Spy
I love how
Kids.
you said it like you didn't know he was in
What?
he was in
To be
the
fair,
Spy
I
Kids
don't
movie.
advise-
I had no clue.
In Dark Knight Rises, he looks so much different. Like he looks less.
Oh, he's very
Yeah.
young now.
Yeah, but he's like. But for those of you who don't know, like Glen Powell, he's the stock trader that when Bane breaks into the stock market, like he's the one who says, look, there's no money here. Then why are you here?
Oh, yeah. So I'll even show a picture right here of him because he does get grabbed by Bane. There he is, right there.
Yep.
Look at that
Oh.
young stud, and then here he is in Spy Kids as
Oh, wow.
a young kid.
He was a
And he's got
lad.
that same face. He's got his face has him and Ryan Gosling. They have the same face when they were kids.
Ryan Gosling, Joseph Gordon-Levitt in
Yeah.
Angels in the Outfield.
Yeah, they keep that freaking that young face.
Elijah
And
Wood
that's
as
one
well.
of the that's one of the reasons why I can't have him as Batman. And he smiles a lot, and he's got a
Yeah.
good smile,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't. It just I don't know. It doesn't. He looks
Yeah.
like he could play a superhero, but not Batman. I'm sorry.
Well,
Yeah, he's
I-
like he's more the smooth operator type than the dark and brooding guy.
Exactly.
yeah. Well, I know, what was it? Hollywood Reporter. He did like some big interview for a magazine or
Yeah.
that like he really was adamant that the only superhero he wants to play is Batman. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't like do any other superhero stuff really, except for Batman.
And good on him. And he shouldn't, and that's one of the things too, is like, hey, he is on fire right now. I mean, this is his third movie that's come out this year, and it looks like it's a hit. Twisters, and Hitman was a hit, and then Anyone But You was also a hit. So the dude's on fire right now. Why jump into some tights and a cape? I mean, I get it. It could take him to another level.
If he really loves Batman, maybe.
But I mean, I just, God, I don't see him as Batman. But then again, there could be some kind of surprise where it's like, all of a sudden James Gunn and Muschietti sees him. But at the same time, does he feel like he's old enough to have? Yeah, I guess he can be. I mean, how old is he? In his mid
35. He's 35.
I guess he could.
Well, again, like I was saying last time, the rule is like he's got to be old enough to have a son who's old enough to be a Robin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he could. I mean, again,
the other part of it too is that this is the other big thing too. Like, let's say he's cast as DCU Batman. Does Glen Powell want to tie himself to a cinematic universe? Because remember, got to voice video games, cartoons, and be in multiple movies going forward for like at least 10 years. That's a big commitment.
It's a good point. And if you play like a character within the universe, or even a villain, that could be just like a one-off. Could be just nothing. I mean, and like you said, he could end up playing. Maybe they have, I mean, who knows? I would imagine when it comes to that Batman movie, they're going to have well-established rogues gallery people, so he could very well be playing anyone, or he could be playing, a character that's within the fucking Gotham PD or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, like if we're looking at the Batman characters, I could see Glenn as Nightwing.
Too old.
Too old. I mean, I could see him.
But again, if Batman is old enough to have Damian Wayne, we're looking at an older Dick Grayson.
And he does look young. I get it. And then, I mean, when I watched Twister, I didn't get a good look at his butt. But, Nightwing has that. So he probably does. I don't know.
I can see Glen Powell as Kyle Rayner, though.
Yeah. See, there's that.
Yeah.
The problem with that is you're whitewashing a Hispanic character. So I don't know that that's.
Oh, yeah. You probably don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that.
Like I said, like everyone's first thought is him as a Lantern because Top Gun, because he's a pilot. He'd be a great fighter pilot. So obviously Hal Jordan, but again, like I said, with his personality, like the one side he's a douche, on the other side he's very charming. That's why I was thinking Guy Gardner, but of course Guy Gardner's already spoken for.
I like Chris's idea earlier in the chat when he said Harvey Dent Two-Face.
Yeah.
I guess I'm on an island. I'm the only one who's like for Glen Powell as Batman. Compared to the other names that have been thrown in the ring, I'll take Glen Powell over the other three. That's for sure.
Well, Glenn could surprise us, like you were saying, Dave. Like, because no one thinks of Glen Powell and thinks dark and brooding, but he might surprise us. He might be able to pull it off. If he pulls it off, great.
I just don't see it because he's got those those squinty eyes. He smiles a lot. I mean, what's funny too is like when you watch Twisters, I mean, for like the first half, he is obviously playing that character of the Tornado Wrangler guy, and so he's always just like woo and doing all that. Kind of stuff. But then when it starts getting serious, he does get serious. Like his character, and I actually appreciated that because I was going, I don't know if I'm going to like him, but then all of a sudden I started liking him because he became one of the good guys, I guess you could say, and started taking shit seriously. And then you start getting to know his character. And so he wasn't all smiles and grins and, squinty eyes. Sure. So I don't know.
Yeah. Besides the smiling grin part, I mean, that's the
Joker.
That's
play Joker.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's Bruce. It's like the Bruce Wayne billionaire playboy persona. Yeah. So we can do that part at least.
I mean, after watching Hitman, in the way he just went in and out from creating different people to catch the other Hitman, I'm like, yeah, he could do Matches Malone easy.
He could. He could
very, very easily.
That was a really good movie. I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed Hitman.
That movie is a showcase of his range as an actor, and it's really great. And honestly, people were hella skeptical about Christian Bale and Michael Keaton. So, I'm kind of in the Glen Powell camp, and I'm fine with that.
The question, though, is you mentioned earlier, I think it was Eric mentioned, he has to be dark and brooding.
Yeah.
Part of that, yes, but like we don't really know what kind of Batman we're really getting in this universe, though.
We're not gonna get super dark and brooding.
Yeah,
that's
like
for sure.
he might like the Glen Powell type might fit whatever vision they have for Batman in this universe.
They already have Pattinson. They already have Pattinson, who's like super dark and pretty brooding in a young sense. So they're not going to I can't imagine. The one thing that I've always said is like when Muschietti showed in the Flash was he's going to give us a fantastical Batman, and I'm going, yeah, good, be as fantastical as
you got to go for something like really comic booky.
You got to go you got to find a fine line between like a middle ground between like Ben Affleck and Robert Pattinson. That's kind of where
there you go.
I don't think the current generation would care for another Adam West or George Clooney Batman.
No, that's way too much.
We've been seeing the comparisons between like Corenswet and the DC animated universe Superman, right? Like that kind of Batman from like Batman the animated series would kind of be like where you might want to go, where it could still be dark as well, but like you look at that Batman from like Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, like he has the ability to like cross over to be in a larger world where he still like fits.
I think that's what Gunn is trying to go for. I mean, at least that's what I'm getting is like he's going, all right, animated series, let's try to like wrap some flesh around that maybe. And it's funny too because I haven't really seen Corenswet in anything, but of course he was in Twisters, so that was kind of almost like I've seen clips and everything, but just to see him in a full-on movie, it was kind of interesting because I'm just going, every time I see him on screen I'm like, oh, there's Superman, and then I'm trying to get a hint, but of course his character is a douchebag in Twisters.
It's a small the first thing I saw him in was Pearl, and like Pearl,
I haven't seen Pearl yet.
It's still a supporting role, but he has a little bit more.
I saw a clip and I thought
he's in We Own This City with John Bernthal on HBO. That's actually a really solid showcase of him being kind of a good guy. Yeah, he's got the chops for it. I don't know. I see him and I'm just like, oh, that's David Corenswet. I don't say Superman. I just say that's David Corenswet.
Well, I just see young 20-year-old Henry Cavill or something.
Yeah, he's got similar eyes, but for the most part. But yeah, it was kind of interesting. It's hard not to think like, okay, yeah, that's Superman. Anytime I saw him, I'm like, that's Superman. I'm like, let's see because I saw some people, on Twitter going, well, I don't know about David Corenswet. He sucked in Twisters. I'm like, well, he was supposed to suck. He's not supposed to be. He's a
bad guy.
Right? He's not exactly. I mean, if you were to compare him, if we're going to keep it in the world of Twister, he is kind of like the Jonas Carey Elway's character.
Or like I heard somebody else compare, because I haven't seen Twisters yet, but somebody compared him kind of like to Walter Peck from Ghostbusters, kind of like the guy you punch,
Yeah, he's just like, I mean, he's a side character. He's not the main. There's not really like when it comes to the antagonist. You would think like at first like Glen Powell's the antagonist, but then he ends up not being the antagonist. There's not really like a full-on. I would say, I guess, if you had to pick an antagonist, without giving any spoilers, Corenswet kind of is, but then there's like somebody else that's in the shadows that is the antagonist essentially.
Wait, so the antagonist is someone other than the stupid tornado?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's the thing. I think maybe that's one of the reasons why I was like, yeah, Twisters is fine, because there wasn't that kind of like
I'm surprised how well it's doing. I mean, I figured it was going to do well, but like it's doing like they're saying it's going to open possibly as high as like 80, maybe.
Yeah, and that's great.
Good.
Cool. I love that. I love the fact that even if I was just going, it's okay, it's fine, but I'm glad that it's doing fairly well. I didn't want to
thriving.
I mean, I wonder how much of Twister's success is because of Glen Powell, because otherwise I'm sure a lot of people looked at the news of the movie and like, oh, another distant sequel to an older movie. Yeah, but the fact that it's got an up and coming superstar, it's like, yeah, I'll check it out.
I think maybe it's just, I mean, I'm not trying to downplay Glen Powell or anything. I think it has more to do with I think they did a really good marketing campaign. I think they really appeal to middle America with this movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Oklahoma.
I feel like
Yeah, for sure.
That I feel is like, I'm not saying Glen Powell doesn't help, because he does, because he promoted this movie like crazy. Like, he went out there and did a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Um,
But did
and then of
anyone?
course,
Sorry.
what's up?
Did anyone see Jeremy Johns' review of Twisters?
Oh,
No.
I didn't check it out.
Not yet.
No, what did he
Not
say?
yet.
No.
It's just when he gets to Glen Powell's character, to his part about Glen Powell's character, I won't spoil it, but it's priceless. You got to watch it.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I think Jeremy Johns thinks he's smarter than he actually is. I don't pay much attention to his reviews that much.
Well, look, Jeremy Johns, like, it's just not that he's like the smart guy at all. It's just that he's that it's entertaining, which is why it's like whether it's what for me. It's like whether I'm interested in seeing the movie or not, I'll still check out the review because it's going to be. I know I'm going to get my money's worth watching it. It's entertaining.
Yeah, no offense. I think you and I have a very different idea of what entertaining is when it comes to reviewers, but you know.
Well, I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah. I like Jeremy Johns. I like the fact that he's never changed at all. Like he just kept the same structure through like over a decade of doing this. It's kind of like he's just like, hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's like, yeah, maybe the quality of the video got better, but essentially it's just him in front of a green screen saying it, doing that, and he had his scale of how he does it. That's perfectly fine. But but when it comes to Glen Powell, Glen Powell, I think, obviously he's going to be a drive because, it's a good looking dude. There is a scene where it's literally just a thirsty fucking, and it's in the trailer where he just walks out in a white t-shirt, cowboy hat, got the jeans. It's raining, and it's like, okay, and he's just walking.
Water at the chest.
Yeah. And it's like, it was funny because I was going, where does that fit in the movie? I'm wondering, oh, okay, it's right here. And I'm going, okay. It was actually a pretty, I guess it's a good part of the movie, I guess you could say, to have it. So I'm like, yeah, but good on. I mean, why not? You got to put some butts in the seats, whether it's the female butts or the anybody who So
But again, as far as Jeremy is concerned, well, he was like a big fan, a big supporter of Zack Snyder and the Snyder Cut, but also it's just, even putting aside the entertainment, there's always a sense that, look, even if I don't agree with his review of the movie, I'll still understand where he's coming from. I mean, I could disagree with you, but I see your point. So
that's what I think every good reviewer should try to do. Like, a good review should be something. Because I saw a clip of like Roger Ebert kind of talking about what a good review, and I actually thought it was kind of interesting. Where it's like, you have to make a review to where even if somebody has no interest in the movie, like, your review kind of tells a story. You give them an idea of what the movie experience is like. Objectively.
RJ, have you ever seen RJ and Siskel, or have you ever seen Ebert and Siskel? Like,
No,
hold on. Have you seen their review of Full Metal Jacket? Because they are on complete opposite sides of the movie.
Yes.
Yes, I did. Yeah, it's one of the best examples of like their chemistry.
100%, and it is exactly everything you're talking about. It tells a story about how they feel about said movie.
Because like Roger Ebert, like the way he like, even Gene Siskel to an extent, the way they would review movies, right? There's a lot of times that people would vehemently disagree with them on a movie. Like, they would hate something that was like super popular, but it's like, they're very entertaining with the way that, like, you understand, like, because you had a relationship watching them review stuff, you got an idea of their tastes and sensibilities as critics, you know?
Exactly.
One of the approaches that I like to put out there too is like, when I do my first reactions, is like, hey, maybe it wasn't for me, but hey, if it's this is the audience that it was going for, it didn't strike me, but I'm not going to just sit there and just shit on it unless I really did not enjoy it. Then I might, but for the most part, I don't really do that.
You kind of take the Kevin Smith approach.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, that's
healthy.
One should take. Yeah.
Whoa,
exactly.
Somebody riding a motorcycle out there.
Oh, yeah, I think it's probably my end. Like, A, there's thunder. It's thundering outside, and B, there was some like motorcycle, whatever, nearby. Yeah, and there's a train.
There it is.
Nice.
I like it.
Welcome to Mulberry, folks.
But yeah, I think Glen Powell is Batman. I don't see it, but hey, you never know. The thing is, though, is like, the first time I've seen him was obviously Top Gun Maverick, and of course he played the douchey character, but then of course gets his he gets his moment at the end, of course, but at the same time, it's just crazy how like much he's blowing up right now. And I remember him in an interview said that he was struggling before Top Gun came out, and he was worried that shit wasn't gonna like go through or something. It was to a point where he thought that, oh man, this is probably not going to work out. I've been trying to do this thing for a bit, and then all of a sudden Top Gun blows up, and then he starts blowing up, and now he's having himself a hell of a year. So, kudos on him. He's
definitely become a name, and I feel like if you're going to cast a DCU Batman, you kind of want a name. That's always been kind of the thing, right? You want a name for Batman.
Well, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Timothée Chalamet too, where it's like, he was in stuff, but like it really wasn't until Dune where it's like, wow, okay, now once Dune came out, and then Wonka, and like back to back, it's like, okay, like this kid can be a draw,
Right. He's got chops, definitely.
It's kind of nice when we have like movie stars again, because it seemed like there was a time, like a moment where it's going, are movie stars even a thing anymore? Because that used to be a draw, now it's not. Even Quentin Tarantino talked about that. It's like, you're not going to see Chris Evans, the movie star. You're going to see Captain America,
right?
And it was like that for a little bit. I do hope that, as much as I still love the superhero genre, and I know it's going to keep on, and we got new things coming out we'll talk about in a little bit here. But I do like the fact that, hey, let's get back to where when you see a name on the marquee, whether it's a director or the star of the movie, you go, oh shit, got to go see the new Glen Powell movie, got to go see the new, whatever movie.
Even for example, like I know Dave, you're not a huge fan of Zendaya, but Zendaya has become a big draw. And I noticed with Jenna Ortega, they put out the new Beetlejuice trailer and poster. They gave Jenna Ortega the with credit, like at the very end, with Jenna Ortega and Willem Dafoe. And I'm like, that's interesting, That's
always interesting. It's always interesting when it comes to how they do that, when it comes to credits. Right. I'm always like, there's always, you take pride if you have with above your name or and. Yeah. It's like, they always like have those specifically for the names. Like if you're not the actual headliner, but you're like a name, they'll do the with,
like when they do Samuel L. Jackson or Robert Downey Jr. or something. Yeah,
exactly. So that's good. She got the with. I didn't even notice that. I don't even know if I watched that trailer. God damn, I'm like behind on my trailers because I watched the Alien Romulus trailer. And I thought that was
great. I'm so excited for Alien Romulus. Looks so good.
Yeah.
They're bringing it back to the basics.
Yeah. By the way, Dave, like you brought up Quentin Tarantino, because there's something that I have been thinking about, because like when the news broke out that the movie critic, that he was shelving the movie critic and that wasn't going to be his 10th movie. And we were wondering, why would you do that? Especially like there were stories where like someone, like one of the producers was saying, hey, it's a good script. I don't know why he put it on the shelf. And the more I was thinking about it, the more I was realizing, look, if this is going to be his last big screen movie, and he is thinking a lot about his legacy, so it would have to be with that in mind, it would have to be the kind of movie that he hasn't made before. I mean, he said many times that, like, what will he do after his 10th movie? Well, it's like he'll do plays, he'll do books, but he'll also do, like, Netflix specials, which is why I really think that, look, just wait a few years that eventually the movie critic is going to be a Netflix thing.
When it comes to Tarantino, it's interesting because I hope he does do the movie. It might be another Hateful Eight situation because that happened where his like script leaked out and then he said fuck it, and then they like did a reading of it and then he decided to shoot it. I think that's what happened.
Well, again, I think it's going to be not a big screen movie, but it's going to be a small screen movie like Netflix. That's what I'm thinking about.
I am a little worried that he is being somewhat of a perfectionist when it comes to like his final movie. Like he's trying too hard to meticulously plan it out. Where it's like, Movie Critic was probably going to be a great movie, but it's like, is that the kind of movie I want to end my directing run on?
It should be because to me, that's like his legacy right there.
I get you. Just keep going. I mean, Marty's still going.
Yes. But if it's pretty much has the same like subgenre, if you will, of that, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was. It kind of links to that as far as the movie business, but in this case, the movie critic business, which is why, again, I really suspect that a lot of the movie ideas that he's tossed around over the years, like the Kill Bill, the sequel to the Kill Bill movies, or the extra stuff in Inglourious Bastards that he never films, or all that other stuff, is eventually going to be Netflix stuff, like mini series on Netflix or whatever. But as far as his 10th movie, I think it's got to be a movie or a genre, like perhaps a genre that he hasn't done yet. Which like it might be a sci-fi, it might be a kids movie, like I was talking about before, but I think that's what it's going to be.
I hope it's
do Star Trek.
I know, right? I wanted that Star Trek when we heard about all that. Yeah. Hey, Chris Balga is here.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Oh,
Good.
can't complain. Nice shirt.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I've got one just like it.
I know. Yeah. I do appreciate yours. You know, the GameStop exclusive.
Dude, I got this like the night the game dropped, and this was like right before I started working at GameStop too. So this shirt has been through some years. It's seen some battles.
It was fate.
It's indeed fate. Yeah, I stayed up for like 7-8 hours when that game dropped at midnight and played it until like really early in the morning too. I should really replay that game. I love Arkham City.
Well, show off the shirt, Chris. Let's see it.
Oh, there we go.
Oh yeah, it's
There you go.
Yep, got that shirt too. It's a great shirt.
It is. Yeah.
Great shirt. So many shirts. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, way too many shirts.
I know. I was like, geez, which ones? And I was like, it's getting too much. But at the same time, they're all good quality shirts, though.
I have no idea what Snyder Cut shirts I want to bring to Comic-Con. I'm debating on that.
Really bring them all
because like I want to bring the one Chris is wearing. I want to bring the one that Mighty Pegasus made, Victor Koo. Like I actually have a Darkseid one that he made. I love it. I love that shirt to death.
Is that the one with the collage of the whole universe?
It's got one half of old Darkseid and then one half of new Darkseid.
Oh yeah, I remember
it's that one. Yeah. I got that one from people.
Wait.
So
I mean, if I were to pick, one Snyder Cut-ish shirt to wear at Comic-Con, it would probably be my associate producer uniform.
I'm associated producer. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I think my favorite one was probably it was the one where they had all the characters on it. In the
one of my favorites.
One in red.
I think that's that one, right?
Yeah, the artwork one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorites. But also I don't know. They're all like I said, there were so many shirts, and I have them all, and they're all still in the closet. It's all still very comfy. Unlike this shirt, I like this shirt because I love this movie so much, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. But it's rough. It's not a high quality fabric. It feels a little sandpapery. I hate it when that happens. When I get a shirt and it's like, but at the same time, I remember feeling it and I'm going, God damn it, it's a little rough. But I'm going, yeah, but where else am I? I think I got it. I forgot where I got it. Maybe I ordered it online. I don't know where I got it.
I would say wear an undershirt under it to make it, feel better, but it depends on the climate you're in.
No, yeah, definitely not doing that. I'm not an undershirt guy. I'm not an undershirt guy, not an underwear guy. Anyways, I don't like the trunks. I don't like the trunks on Superman. That's what I'm talking about. What are you talking about? Get your head. Yeah.
It's classic. You gotta go with the classic.
Oh my God, no! We need to move away from that saying. Classic Superman.
I was
no,
say, Phil, you like My Adventures with Superman? You had the whole trunk, season and a half or whatever.
Yeah, now he doesn't. They understood what needed to be done. So
yeah, how are we feeling about that, Todd? How were you feeling about that when it came to the new?
Superman? I was so pumped that they got rid of the trunks. I was like so excited when that happened. I reacted to it. I was just like, yes, thank you. And then like a week later, DC announces an all in universe. Yeah, and I was super pumped for that because there's no trunks on that Superman either. So
you guys got to get on board with the trunks.
We're trunkless over here. We're free balling over here.
We go commando over here. Thank you.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
There might be a
but I mean, but if you can make it work, fine. It's not a make or break. It's kind of funny how that is, and how.
I'm fine with either.
Yeah, you know, but it's a funny discourse because, you know, I love it when like for instance, like Aaron Bailey, he took like one of the shots of Superman, you know, of Corenswet, removed the trunks, and it's like, oh, okay, that looks kind of cool, but at the same time, it kind of doesn't because it looks like a onesie. But I was like, yeah, but if they, you know, if it got rearranged a little bit, it would look better. And then I posted a clip of that all over, and it blew up on YouTube. It blew up on Instagram and TikTok. And it's just kind of funny to see the reactions and how like people are just so like angry. Either they're angry about it not being there or angry about it being there. And it's just kind of funny. Like I just laugh at both. And I in interacting with some of these people, especially on TikTok, and it's just so funny. It's like, you know, they just like, there's people that are just, it's like it's like a religion. And it's just so funny because it's a religion of underwear.
Yeah, I know.
Which is
so thing is like, of all the things to argue about, it's about underwear choices.
Yeah, that's fandom for you, though.
Yeah,
They'll find the littlest things and get so ticked off about it.
Although weirdly enough,
like, if you remember like the Dos Equis commercials with the most interesting man in the world, and there's like some spin-offs of it where he's giving little pieces of advice, and the subject was boxers or briefs, and he says, "What's between you and your pants is between you and your pants."
Yeah, pretty much. But Rhea, you got to step off.
Oh yeah, it's been real. I will chat with y'all later, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Hey, bye.
Good night, Rhea.
See you later.
All right. See you. Take it easy, Rhea.
But yeah, it's just one of those things, and then you kind of wonder, like, all right, so if Superman has the chones, when we get this DCU Batman, is Glen Powell going to look good with it?
Well, Cape Crusader Batman has the chonies.
He does.
Yeah,
and it's funny because like the Batman doesn't kill crowd is notoriously quiet on the whole. Batman just running into 3 different thugs.
They're fine. They just broke a few bones and ribs.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm like, you guys are fine. Those guys are, but it's just like, it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, come on, guys, we're not gonna do this. It's an animated. I mean, there's been so many times where even when Scott and I have been talking about some episodes where we go,
yeah, there's no way that survived.
Yeah, you're like,
but that's when it comes into down just suspending your disbelief, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, again, it's like it's very much what.
Cool shot.
Yeah, it was very much Zack Snyder's point when he did his Vero commentary on BVS, where he was like deliberately invoking exactly what the Arkham guys were saying. They kept saying, "Oh no! In the Arkham games, Batman doesn't kill those goons; he just gives them concussions." So Zack, of course, when we're getting to the point where Batman's killing those goons, he's like, "No, they're not really dead. We just didn't see them recover."
Yeah. I mean, there you go. I mean, I don't know. It's such a weird thing.
Up with the machine gun and drove through. Those guys are probably. You know, they're fine. They just got a big hospital bill. That's all.
Yeah, that's all. They're just like going to the hospital.
It's a flesh wound. It's okay. Put a Band-Aid on it, rub some dirt on it, take some ibuprofen, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, but
hey, everybody wish Jose happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Birthday, Jose.
You're old.
Yeah, old man.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Jose. Yeah, and the Dodgers won. Whatever. I know the Giants. The Giants lost the last 2 games. They're coming off the All-Star break. Shitty, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, Talati mentioned the Absolute Universe. I was just curious if you were interested in that and going to be picking it up at all, or is going to
I think I'm going to. I'm very curious.
Mm-hmm. I think William and I are going to try and hit that panel.
Yeah, I think it's on.
We talked about that last night.
Thursday, Friday?
Thursday. I think it's Friday.
It's Thursday.
Oh, it's Thursday.
Thursday, 12:45 to 1:45. I might have to leave my current panel that I'll be at because I'll be at a VFX panel for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes from 11:30 to 1. But if we wrap it early, I should be able to make it. If not, I'll still be there. I'll still be able to make it in time, I think.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's what Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson are promising, where it's going to be a good jumping on point for someone who's trying to get back into reading DC Weekly. Because the biggest issue I find with comics is that there's a perceived issue of accessibility, where it's like the average person, can they just walk in and like find a starting place and just go from there to where they want to come back to a store weekly? You know?
Yeah, I mean that was the whole concern that led to the whole New 52 thing, right? Because they're thinking, well, hey, you know, we need to like make sure that people could just start right fresh. So their solution was to start fresh, and I was like, why not just write some standalones?
Yeah, well, I think this is good because you know they're keeping the mainline universe going. They're just starting fresh with like new storylines for every book, so you can jump on there, which is good. They're not like rebooting.
Yeah.
The absolute universe is going to be pure standalone, but it's also going to connect in some ways too, so that's good.
Right.
I'm definitely curious to see, because they say this directly spins out of absolute power. Like it's its own thing, but it's going to be it
involves Darkseid somehow too.
And Snyder said they've been working on this with Williamson for about almost 3 years ago at New York Comic Con. That's how long this has been in development.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I do like the fact that like Superman is like, you know, he's very much, it's not, they like changed up certain aspects of the Trinity.
Yeah, so the solicits went out and they said absolute Batman will be a Batman that has no wealth, no mansion, no butler.
Yeah.
Oh.
Absolute Superman will be a Superman that has no family, no parents, like he's off on his own and he's like just got here. Maybe. And then Wonder Woman, she has no connection to Paradise Lost and she has no sisters. Like she's out on her own.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of basically you're taking the characters and removing a lot of their what gives them advantages or like gives them connections.
What gives them humanity.
Yeah, I was about to say a moral compass, that is.
Yeah.
And RJ, like how you described Absolute Batman, that really reminds me of, I forget which director was going to do it. Like before Christopher Nolan did a Batman Begins, there was going to be a
Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah, and it was like he was a Bruce who was like kind of on his own, and he took like a car and basically put it together to make his Batmobile, but it wasn't like he was a billionaire orphan or anything like that, but it was like all that stripped from him.
Well, when you look at the artwork, it makes sense. This Batman has no technology, so he's got to get to like Hulk size if he wants to fight crime, you know?
Yeah.
Huge.
You know, it reminds me of what was in Rocky Balboa when, you know, his trainer's going, he's got speed, you got none of that. And so we're going to build blunt force trauma. And that's what what he looks like. He looks like he's just blunt force trauma. And we want to be using, you know, the criminals are scared of a bat. No, they're just scared of a big hulking guy. And it just makes it worse that he's dressed up as a bat.
Yep.
Which frankly, that's how he looked in Dark Knight Returns in the comic, right? Where he's bulky, where he's a massive hunk.
Very huge.
Like I don't think it's intentional. Well, maybe it is a little bit, but this does feel like DC's response in a way to what Marvel did by bringing back the Ultimate Universe. Which, if you haven't read that, please go read it. It's amazing. All of those books are great. Jonathan Hickman relaunched the Ultimate Universe. It's great.
I'm still not jiving with X-Men though. I'm still trying to figure that out.
X-Men is the one book that's really weird. It's very Japanese centric, and it's like, yeah, that's the one.
Weird. It was weird the first time they did Ultimates, and it's still weird the second time they're doing it.
I'm hoping there's like a grander vision for that book that just hasn't come into focus yet, but we'll see.
Same.
Spider-Man's awesome.
Absolutely.
I mean, Ultimate Spider-Man was what gave us Miles Morales, right? So there's that, which of course they gave us Into the Spider-Verse. So there you go.
Right, but this is Ultimate Spider-Man in the form of Peter Parker being a grown adult with kids married to Mary Jane, and things are very different.
Well, the idea that Hickman came up with so the pitch is basically you have evil Reed Richards from the original Ultimate Universe.
Yep.
Decides to go escape to another universe because he's in prison. He's like, I'm going to make it the Marvel Universe in my image and make a world where I control the destinies and fates of all these heroes and like craft them to be what I want to be. So basically, he prevents Spider-Man from getting bit by the spider. He prevents Reed Richards from getting his powers. He prevents, you know, all this stuff, right? So the idea is that these heroes find out who they're supposed to be, and they're trying to basically save the world because the world's not what it was supposed to be because someone tampered with it and messed with it. It's a really cool premise, and I feel like that's maybe what they're doing with Darkseid, with the Absolute stuff, because they kind of hint to that Darkseid is like the central figure. Like something goes on with Darkseid to where he has influence over this new universe. So it's just kind of interesting to see the parallels between the two, because what they're doing at Marvel with the Ultimate Universe is like very successful. It's selling really well. So,
and you know, here's the funny thing too: the Wonder Woman design is very reminiscent of the New 52, and also very God of War like.
Ooh.
Yeah, honestly, the absolute.
I like the
stuff
tattoos she has.
Yeah. The absolute stuff is very almost Snyderverse-ish. Like the Superman suit looks a lot like Henry Cavill's suit.
It feels almost,
especially around the torso. Yeah,
well, it feels almost intentional, because the way Scott Snyder described it is that if the main universe in that storyline is going to focus on Superman, and like this absolute universe, it's going to be the heroes are underdogs, and like he described it as like it's got dark side energy. Like it's going to be a little more grimy, a little more dirty, a little more edgy in some ways.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what other heroes look like, because I know they announced Martian Manhunter and there was one other character, Flash and Green Lantern. Yeah, I'll be waiting for Aquaman though.
I don't know if this. I mean, we'll find out on next Thursday at the panel. But I think the idea for Flash is that it's going to be Wally West from the jump, and there will be no Barry Allen. That's interesting.
That's a choice.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. Which of course that's how it initially was in a post-crisis, right? Because Barry sacrificed himself with Crisis on Infinite Earths. So for a while, at first in post-crisis, it was Wally West from the beginning, right?
Isn't Mark Waid also on that creative tier with Williamson and Scott Snyder?
So what they announced in the video is Mark Waid's going to be heading up Action Comics for the mainline universe.
Okay.
And then Joshua Williamson's going to be running Superman comic.
Right, I knew that.
The Superman comic, they're introducing, and this has been confirmed. He confirmed it himself on Twitter. Lois Lane is going to get powers and become the new Superwoman.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Which of course,
the drawings for that. Yeah.
Which of course, like during a Rebirth, there was a whole storyline of the New 52 Lois for a while being there as Superwoman. Yeah.
Well, that goes back even further to Grant Morrison and All-Star Superman,
right?
Where Lois had powers for a day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Should be interesting.
Scott Snyder on Batman again, and having Jason Aaron on that absolute Superman. That's going to be interesting. Yeah. Joshua Williamson's a really great writer in his own right, and I think he's like worked his way up to get to the Superman book.
Did you guys read Scott Snyder's blog about the announcement?
Yes.
I watched the video that you sent in that Discord group we're in.
Oh, okay. So he has a blog, and he like wrote up a little dialogue about it. And basically he said the reason he wanted to do this is because he was so sick and tired of people saying the superhero genre is like dying. He was really sick and tired of people saying that the superhero genre and superhero comics are like on the way out. Because he said like post Endgame, it felt like the conversation shifted. And like his idea was, let's make a comics initiative that reminds people why this stuff is awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because like I'm tired of the narrative that this stuff is going away, because we're not going anywhere.
Which was exactly what happened with Frank Miller and Alan Moore, where like Frank said, it was up to us to give Batman his balls back, because everyone was sick and tired of that.
Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just think this absolute universe will actually be a very good thing for DC, because it will get more people to read the comics, and potentially even the emblem, let's say for Superman's emblem, obviously it looks similar to Henry Cavill's Superman, but also it reminds me of David Corenswet's Superman as well a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I mean the collar, the collar's a little similar, I suppose.
Yeah. You got to tie it into the live action stuff a little bit, but we can let's talk a little bit Marvel stuff, because apparently today was like the whole press day when it came to Deadpool and Wolverine, and there were some things that came about when it press and everything, and Kevin Feige. One of the first things, I mean, I'm just going by I just typed in Kevin Feige. And
they asked him so many questions today.
And one of the first things that pops up is the fact that Kevin Feige says the mutant era of the MCU starts now. Deadpool and Wolverine is the beginning, and every movie after will be the mutant era coming in.
That
into
just
the
confirms
MCU.
to me what people have long said. It's like once we get, so they dubbed it the Infinity Saga, Multiverse Saga. What is what we're in now? The next saga is the Mutant Saga.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's going to be
Probably.
X-Men focused. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Probably.
Yeah.
What about it?
It's kind of funny too because I think Sean Levy said in a recent interview that, oh yeah, what about the we're talking about superhero fatigue, but then people were saying, what about multiverse fatigue? And he goes, yeah, there is maybe some of that, but Deadpool and Wolverine, that's going to be the antidote. And I was like, okay, good answer to the question.
Great answer.
Stuff is coming at the perfect time for Marvel because when people are kind of like feeling iffy about what they're currently doing, you have a giant cast of characters that like people are going to get really excited for, and you can pivot to and just focus on them.
Yeah.
Because most likely, I've been saying this forever, once we get past Secret Wars, you're going to see the focus change to Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and X-Men.
Probably more so.
They have been with these for a while.
Probably more so Fantastic Four and X-Men, considering they're still sharing the rights to Spider-Man. But you're right.
Yeah.
And I love how like he talked about it in the interview of why X-Men didn't have their normal costumes at
The
first.
Matrix.
Yeah, because
video actually like, hey, the Matrix is popular. We need to copy that.
Yeah, but at the same time, it kind of worked because it was just like, if everybody back in the 99, 2000s, if they had the X-Men movie and everybody was like in these brightly colored suits,
nobody would take it.
It might have not worked.
Thinking about Batman and Robin and that corniness.
And it might have not worked. And they do make that joke at the end, obviously, when they go to the Statue of Liberty and Logan goes like, you actually wear these things? It's like, and he goes, and then of course Cyclops goes, what do you want? Bright yellow spandex? And it was just, it was like a cool little, hey, we know that they're not wearing. Yeah. But at the same time, it makes sense. But
and I do like how over the course of that original X-Men film run, like there was clearly, like they were clearly trying to figure out how would we give Hugh Jackman's Wolverine the classic look, and which is why in The Wolverine they were thinking of, well, let's give him gold samurai armor and that make that the Wolverine uniform, but they didn't. But still, it is hints that they were trying to figure it out.
Yeah, well, I just love in X-Men '97 they did like the reverse of that line where they have Cable being like in the Cable complaining about the yellow outfit. And
that's right.
Would you rather have black leather?
Yep, that was
that was beautiful.
Yeah,
that's what you do, though. I mean, that's you got to poke fun at it a little bit, and then I think we were talking about it a little bit last night too. Is the fact that when it came to X-Men Apocalypse, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but at the end of it, when they had all of them in like some pretty cool, like distinctive costumes,
that was the best scene of the movie.
That was like so cool, and then all of a sudden you get to Dark Phoenix, and they're all wearing like these shitty like.
They were trying to do the Grant Morrison comic.
New X-Men. It was Grant Morrison's New X-Men. Yeah, it wasn't great.
So horrible looking.
The general audience can't handle real costumes.
But I mean, those costumes were killer. Like somebody literally designed those costumes just for the ending scene, and then they threw them out. Like what? Like, why would you do that? Like, bring those costumes back. They were legit.
The decisions that the Fox executives made until Disney bought them have always been baffling. For every good decision they made, there was like 2 bad ones.
And I cannot wait for the jokes in Deadpool and Wolverine about that kind of shit. You know?
Yeah.
Well, like I don't know if we want to dive too deep into this, but that latest trailer, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine kind of comments on that. He's Storm wanted me to wear it, so did Beast and Scott, and then. Fucking that was
and then of course in his world they all died, so now he wears it proudly,
right
kind of thing, and it was just that's not. I mean, again, we don't have to talk about the spoiler that showed up in that trailer, and Chris, I hope you're doing a good job of keeping your eyes
strong.
Praying for you to stay spoilers. I'm telling you this right now because they said Monday is the premiere, and then Tuesday.
Oh God.
Yeah, and then Tuesday afternoon they're dropping the reviews. That's the time to log out because I guarantee you, Variety is going to spoil that movie because
they
always do that shit.
It's always Variety. I don't know why.
Variety, man.
So like when I was talking to William and Rhea, like we were actually talking about like when we're going to see Deadpool and Wolverine. It looks like we're probably going to be able to see it Thursday after that. After
which is good.
Yeah.
Kind of need to. I really need to.
Yeah.
I'll actually be seeing it twice that weekend, so that'll be fun.
Do you know if you're getting into the Deadpool panel Thursday?
Have not gotten a confirmation email about that yet. We'll see. There's still a few days
because
left.
they're definitely showing the movie there to that crowd. There's no way they're not. I mean, that panel's scheduled to be like 3 hours long. So
I saw the panel's only an hour long, but whether or not they go any longer than that, it's entirely up to them.
Oh, okay, maybe it changed.
I don't know.
Yeah,
no idea.
But I'm looking forward to it. I think next weekend is going to be pretty big for Marvel. I feel like that's going to be their opportunity to like. You have the momentum of Deadpool, and then you can kind of come in Saturday night and just blow the roof off the place and just say, "Hey, we got a new direction now. Here's what we're doing. We're solidifying our plans now. Here we go. Here's like the next, like the end of the Multiverse saga. Here's all the stuff. Let's go."
Yeah, we still won't know who. We still won't know about. We still don't know who the Avengers are.
Yeah, that's
Right?
my big problem.
I'm firm in the idea that Kevin Feige is going to get up on stage and say, "Here's our Phase 6 slate." That's what I think.
Oh, totally. He totally is going to do that. And I mean,
for sure.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's so funny too because I got like 2 more episodes of The Boys, but The Boys are really poking fun at that kind of stuff.
Oh, so you've been to the farm?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't watched the season yet, but I did see in The Boys, like they made like a whole episode kind of where they made fun of D23 and Disney.
Oh yeah,
pretty much.
Phase 72.
Yeah,
phase 7 through 10.
Pretty much like phase 7 through like 19 or so. I mean, I think the Deep makes like a little joke, like all the way to phase 19 or something like that. It's
what
like,
was it? A-Train said, "Oh yeah, we had like the most expensive reshoots in history." That means
literally he goes, "We had reshoots over reshoots to the reshoots," and then he goes, "That means it's the most expensive show ever made, so you know it's good."
Okay, just wait until you get to the finale because there is there's another fun real world jab that you're going to be like, motherfucker. I'm serious.
That's what's great about The Boys. Like, and when people get upset about certain things, like they're poking fun at everyone, even like the politics. They're making fun of the right. They're making fun of the left. They're making fun of the superhero genre. It's like, guys, you have to realize, like, if you feel offended because they poked fun at your camp, shut
it's
the
like
fuck
getting
up.
offended
It's all
at South
about
Park. Like South Park.
Yeah.
Like, if you get offended at South Park, it's like, well,
exactly.
A show is making you feel bad about yourself. We got to start evaluating our choices.
That's when you know that you might be a little too far into what you're into. If you get offended because you like Marvel so much, and they do make fun of the fact that you have like these presentations at D23 or Comic-Con where they show the big, huge slate and then make fun of the movies and stuff like that, then okay, you might not have to think about it. But then, of course, it takes jabs at the left and the right on, when it comes to politics too. And it's like, if you're getting offended, that maybe you got to really think.
Look a little deeper inside.
Yeah.
Introspection.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask, because we were bringing up the Comic-Con stuff, like, do you guys have any expectations or wishes for that panel? What you would like to see them talk about?
Fantastic Four.
Because Fantastic Four, that's a lot. They're bringing that cast
just,
up. And
just a little bit, at least a little like tease about what the MCU X-Men is going to look like, because they've already teased what the MCU Fantastic Four is going to be. And as you said, Dave, like it's going to be Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four. Okay, we're getting Fantastic Four, but what is the MCU's X-Men going to look like?
I still think it's a little too early to talk about.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get that at all.
Because that seems like something post Secret Wars you talk about.
Yeah. And then this is what Kevin Feige said. He said, we have characters from the X-Men world, the mutants, we haven't had access to before. So this is the beginning of that. And every movie post Deadpool and Wolverine will be the mutant era. So, I mean, he's basically just going like, hey, we finally have this now, guys. And I remember like everybody, when it came to Eternals coming out, everybody's going, oh shit, is this when we're going to finally get that? Because there's like this connection to Eternals to the mutants, and they thought maybe that was going to be it. It was like, then that didn't quite work out.
Yeah, my long-standing theory, and there's so many rumors all the time.
Yeah,
like I've always assumed that the plan for Secret Wars was Secret Wars will be the goodbye to the Fox X-Men, like the true final goodbye. Like you bring in everybody in that movie that you possibly can, so you can say goodbye to like Fox X-Men, Sony characters, if they're allowed to, of course. and you say goodbye to like Legacy Marvel. That way, after Secret Wars, you get a clean slate with like new X-Men and all that stuff. You know,
I'm gonna be frank. I think they're gonna say goodbye to a good majority of this universe of the MCU and start
you
fresh.
think so? It's going to be a bigger goodbye? Because
I think so. Yeah.
Goodbye just to Fox.
I mean, you don't talk about, are they going to bring back Robert? Yeah, because are they going to bring back Robert Downey Jr.? Are they going to bring back Chris Evans? So I'm like, no, they're going to say goodbye. We move on to the next.
Maybe then in a broader sense, Secret Wars is kind of the goodbye to like the Marvel of like the past 25 years. You know,
Probably, yeah. I mean, why else would you bring back the two directors who made the last goodbye? Why not bring them for the bigger goodbye? It makes sense.
I love like Kevin Feige actually answered that question too. Of like, hey, he's I can't answer that because last week it was somebody else. And I'm looking forward to next week it being somebody else. So he answered it pretty well. But I do love, like last night on the Fox stream, you know, Steven, who of course has written for Screen Rant for a while, he brought in like, he's like, well, when the whole thing where you get an exclusive from a high trade, like a big trade where they say it's in talks, usually means it's already done. You know, it's already like said and done. So
I mean, we're all assuming Comic-Con announcement, right?
Yeah, we're gonna bring out the Russo brothers. Yeah,
probably.
That leak was planned.
Yeah, I think that was like a thing, and then the fact that Kevin Feige was kind of like going, "Hey, I'm not going to answer that right now," and I think that's going to be part of the Hall H thing. Is like, okay, well, we need somebody to direct this, and I think we have our directors, and then he's just going to bring them out or something like that. Which is totally fine. Cool. Make a whole thing out of it. Fine.
I'm going to assume that they're going to end the panel reaffirming Avengers stuff because Avengers 5 has been in limbo. We don't know what that movie's going to look like anymore. My dream at this point would either be, you know, everyone's been talking about rumors and this stuff too, but like I would love if it was like Avengers World War Hulk or even better, Avengers versus X-Men. Avengers versus the Fox.
I don't think you're getting that till you're not getting that till
I don't think you're gonna get that.
Neither one of those things seem plausible. I'm being brutally honest.
I would be like they've kind of been in limbo. I'm not sure what it could take shape as.
Like it's really tough because what would be the logical Avengers team up to get them to Secret Wars? And that's kind of an open-ended question too, because I feel like you don't really need too much to just bring out and get a lot of these characters into Secret Wars, because Secret Wars is effectively the Beyonder pulling characters for basically like intergalactic gladiator battles of this character versus this character,
all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's just like you can easily just pull, for example, like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine versus, God forbid, Tom Hardy's Venom or whatever, like different kind of scenarios like that.
So like little snippets of giving the fans what they want, like Tom Holland's Spider-Man versus Tom Hardy's Venom.
No, I think it would actually be Andrew Garfield getting the black symbiote suit. That would be the movie you'd do it in.
Wow.
I'm kind of wondering about that too when it comes to the presentation. It's like, okay, so obviously the biggest thing that has happened for Marvel Studios in the last few years is Spider-Man No Way Home. So do we do a thing where it's like, hey, did they do a thing where it's like, oh yeah, you're going to see all three of them again? I mean, obviously it just seems like there hasn't been any Spider-Man news in so long. There's rumors, there's whatever, but it's like, okay, now when it comes to Comic-Con, now let's start talking about, hey, there's going to be some Spider-Man news specifically for Tom Holland's Spider-Man 4. We're going to maybe get something with that. But then at the same time, it's going, all right, what about the other two? Are they going to just save that for Secret Wars to be like this crazy? I don't know. It's just going to be pretty crazy if we're going to end up getting in Secret Wars, like, you know, Tobey Maguire fighting next to Hugh Jackman, which is what everybody kind of really wants. Yeah. I don't know.
I know Feige gave an update and it was like, hey, you know, we're still writing the script or whatever. My assumption would be they're not going to talk about Spider-Man at Comic-Con because they don't.
They should, though. They need to.
That's a Sony thing. Sony doesn't do that at Comic-Con.
Yeah, that's the thing. That fucking Sony. Amy Pascal and her crazy hair.
Yeah.
Now, once they announce it, and if it happens to be during a Comic-Con that they can bring out a panel and stuff like that, then they'll do it. They're not doing it this year.
Yeah. Unless the only way it could happen is if Sony and Marvel tentatively agree to do the reveal there, but it has to be Sony approval for that.
I'm quite shocked that Sony isn't even going to Hall H to present Venom or Kraven. That's actually kind of surprising to me.
Well, yeah.
That's
So
very
They know what they
surprising.
have. They know the dumpster fire that they have.
They're like, yeah, we're not going to put any more money into this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Kevin Feige also talked about Nova.
Yep.
Nova series.
Richard Rider.
Richard Rider. Focus on
Richard
Richard
As
Rider.
a series,
It's
not a movie.
3 or
Yeah.
4 years out, though. It's
Ugh.
3 or 4 years out, so not
So
going to
that's-
be not going to be quickly there. And then of course he did talk about Blade. Somebody asked him about Blade, and he said, "Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be R-rated." But then he did talk about like the fact that we're trying to get it right, and it's like that's the main part. It's like, all right, I get it, good, yeah, okay, Kevin Feige, you better make it a rated R, sure. But at the same time, why the fuck is it taking it so long to get a proper fucking story?
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
wild to me.
It is crazy how Blade was like the one project they've had the most trouble with out of everything. Like that's the one, you know, because on paper it would seem like the simplest one to get right. I mean, it's just a dude killing vampires. Like it's not like the most complex thing in the world.
And it's like it's not the first time that they've had an older property from another studio they've had the chance to revamp. I mean, the first run of it was Incredible Hulk, but even then that was like a joint venture with Universal. Then they get to Spider-Man, and Spider-Man does absolute gangbusters, all 3 movies nonetheless. Now they're really about to show what they can do with Fantastic Four and the X-Men. So Blade, in theory, should be a very easy one to nail down because literally it's just a guy killing vampires. It's not that difficult.
I think Blade is the case of if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Sure, yeah.
I think
But I think the small issue is this wasn't part of their plan. This was Ali coming to them saying, "I want to do it. I've got
Good
2
point.
Oscars," and they're like, "Yeah, we can do it," but that wasn't part of their plan. But you're also not going to turn down his caliber of actor to join the MCU. I wouldn't.
Right.
It does make sense, but it's also funny too because I think William brought it up on the Vox stream last night. It's like when Blade came out, people went to that thing not thinking it was like a comic book movie because nobody knew who Blade was. And he brought up a good point. I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's true. When you actually go and watch it and you see the credits that say it's part of Marvel Entertainment or whatever the hell,
Mm-hmm.
but nobody knew who that was. And at the same time, it's like,
they knew who Wesley Snipes was.
They knew who Wesley Snipes was, and there was a vampire movie. It was R-rated. He was going to be doing some cool shit. So it is interesting that now where everybody knows that. Now they can't get it right, but when it came to that, even when Spider-Man and X-Men were starting to like gather their momentum, and everything, it's just kind of funny that Blade was like in there, but like I said, William brought up a good point. It's like nobody really thought about, oh wait, this guy is a comic book character. At first, until they watched the movie, they didn't know that he was a comic book character, and that's kind of cool. When it comes to Blade.
Same with that's how it was with Men in Black, right? Most people don't realize that Men in Black was a Marvel Comics.
Yep. Same with The Mask.
Yeah, that too.
I'm still waiting.
And of course, the comic mask is a lot more.
Oof, sorry. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I was just saying it's like, and of course, nobody knows that the comic mask is a lot grittier than the movie. So.
Yeah. Oh, I know. That's the thing. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm like, I made a video after Deadpool came out, and I've said this many times, but I made a video after Deadpool came out. I'm like, all right, Dark Horse and whoever wants to attack it. Okay, when the mask, the Jim Carrey mask was great. I was obsessed with that movie, and I was like, cool. But then when I got the comic book, I went, oh my God, this is not exactly what it is. But after Deadpool came out, I'm going, all right, so where's the mask?
Yeah, like a reboot or something.
Yeah, like where are we gonna get like that? And I have been just totally just like waiting for that.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened already.
I'm so surprised too, because Jesus Christ, I still remember that, and I still remember I got my mom to buy that. It was the book. It was like the full-on graphic novel of all the books in one, and it literally had, Big Head, who they call it, holding like a pie with a bomb in it with like a spiky leather jacket. My mom had no idea. I was a kid. we were on the Universal City Walk, and I saw that, and I'm like, Mom, it's the mask. Remember, the mask? And she's like, yeah, okay, I'll buy it. And then you open it up. Oh my God, the graphic violence, the fucking sheer blood splatter that were all over the pages. I was going, oh my God, I can't show my mom this. Jesus Christ.
Thanks, Mom.
I was like obsessed with it. I started collecting all of it. I had the Mask Returns, the Mask Strikes Back, the Mask Hunt for Green October. There was I was just totally going, yes, I'm loving this. And there still has yet to not be a live action version of this after Deadpool. I mean, it baffles me. It baffles me.
Who owns? I'm gonna look up.
Who would you cast to play him
now.
then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
Who would you cast to play him though? Yeah, who would you cast to play him?
Glen Powell would be a fucking great. He'd be great. He's
There you
very
go.
grinny.
You know what? I can see it. I can see
Hell
it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I could see
He
that.
could. He probably could.
Especially
Hey,
after Hitman.
we got
Yeah.
Axel. We got
Hey,
Axel
what's up?
joining right
Hey,
now.
Axel.
Hey,
Hey,
Axel.
Axel.
Hey.
What's happening, man?
Doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Drawing Wonder Woman of what she would look like in My Adventures with Superman.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, let me solo
Okay.
this right here. Hold on.
I like it.
That's pretty cool. I dig it. I dig it.
That's sweet.
I did one of Batman yesterday. Oh, I'll get that one up.
Yeah,
Oh,
put that
yes.
one up. I think I saw that when you put. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah, this one.
yeah. I like it.
He looks
I like
very
it.
much like in the Batman animated series.
Oh,
yeah,
you're talking about the- yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had the talons. He had the talons in his
Yeah.
gauntlets, right?
Yeah.
I like that. But another thing that Kevin Feige also talked about, one of the big questions was about this right here,
Oh,
the Avengers Tower.
Yep.
Which you've been waiting to hear an answer about since 2017.
Yes.
So apparently,
Who are you selling to?
soon we're gonna. Apparently, when it came to when they had the script for Spider-Man: Homecoming, yeah, they already were like, all right, we already know who is buying the tower. It hasn't changed. He said it hasn't changed since then, but we're gonna find out really soon. What are we thinking? Is it gonna be a
yeah, we'll
Baxter?
find out in the next year. You'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I think back then when it was first revealed that he's selling it to somebody, but we're not going to say who. Like the two big theories were it was either Oscorp or to Reed Richards, and it's a Baxter building. Now, since No Way Home pretty much made it clear that Oscorp does not exist in the main MCU, so by default, I was thinking you think the Baxter building, but who else could it be?
Ralph Boner.
And
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Figures.
There you go.
I just
You
want
could
to see the
also use
fandom
Wilson-
blow up on that one.
Dude, that would be
could also-
hilarious.
Most likely, I could see it being
Wilson
Wilson
Fisk.
Fisk and Penn.
Well, you think it's gonna be Wilson Fisk?
Yeah,
could also-
I could see it being Kingpin.
Ooh.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that too. Yeah, I was actually like when I saw that because I knew, like Brandon Davis says, yeah, I might have or might have not asked about who bought the Avengers Tower, and then he goes, "Of course I did," and I went, "Okay." Obviously, it's not going to be revealed, but then I started thinking, I was like, "Okay." I mean, my first thought is Baxter, and then all of a sudden I was like,
Yeah.
"Well, what if it's like, what if it?" I actually thought about that too, Talati. I was like, maybe it is. Maybe it is Fisk. Maybe he did that too. It could be a
I'll watch
villain.
it be like the most Millicos, like random choice possible. It's like
Pepper.
That's
It's gonna be Pepper Potts.
Pepper Potts bought it. Yeah.
Oh, and that all. And when we saw Loki season 1, we got that little look at what an alternative person who did get it, and it was a Kang variant.
Yeah, I thought it might be yeah. Initially, when I saw that Loki, I'm like, oh, they're gonna set up it's a Kang variant that bought it or something. But I don't go with that route. So
But even going to Spider-Man 4, yeah, it's not going to be John Watts, and Kevin Feige confirms that they're looking for a new director for Spider-Man. Which, yeah, that makes sense. It's like, you know, Watts did the trilogy.
Yeah.
You got to move on. You got to move on. You
there
know?
was a crazy rumor going on. I don't believe this for a second. I think it's fake. But I saw like somebody was, I don't remember who it was, but somebody said that like their top choice, like the person they want to do it, is Sam Raimi. Which I'm like,
Well, yeah, of course, but you can't. I mean, everybody sees Sam Raimi, or at least in our world, they're going to be like, it's got to be Toby, not Tom.
Yeah.
I think too. It's like when you want to do a Spider-Man, it's not technically his. You know.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I'm good with them finding someone else.
Man,
They gotta find somebody else.
Mm.
Yeah, like
they gotta find some like crazy like YouTubers, like a YouTuber team that just like do like high intensity. I don't know. I always like it when that happens.
Ooh.
Those kind of stories where like YouTubers make creative
the
shit.
Bad Boys directors want to do it. Give it to them.
Exactly. Oh,
Well, then, yeah, Dave, the Kung Fury director.
There you go. Something like that. I mean, maybe not. Yeah, I mean, it could work. I mean, that's the thing. It's like that's what I love when you hear those like Cinderella stories about YouTubers that have taken upon themselves to make just like these like great content where now studios are going, hey, would you want to do take your style and bring it over here? I mean,
yeah,
my God. I mean, yeah, the guys who did Kung Fury, I mean, Jesus Christ, that movie, that little short, I don't know how many times I watched that. It actually got brought up too on the morning show I listened to. They were like talking about it because they brought up David Hasselhoff's like song that was incorporated, you know, and it was just like, yeah, I was like, oh man, weren't they trying to make that into an actual film to be released?
Yeah, they're still doing it. They're still doing that.
Still trying to, right?
Yeah, it's still in production.
Okay, I hope so because that shit was gold.
Yeah.
Absolute gold. I mean, anybody who's a child of the 80s or 90s, I mean, come on. That is just like perfect.
I think it was like who's most logical fit. I really do think it's those Bad Boys directors, just because they've got the working relationship with Sony. They've worked with Marvel Studios before,
and it would be such a middle finger to fucking Warner Brothers.
Yeah, like it'd be like a full redemption tour. They go from Batgirl go to a Bad Boys movie doing really great, and then you jump right to Spider-Man. I mean,
yes.
I think they could actually do a very good job. If you watch that first episode of Miss Marvel, and I actually adored the entire series, but the first episode really had like a
camera work
feel.
Yeah, the camera work.
And can you imagine? You apply that to Spider-Man. I mean, they're going to be like, they're like, how can we have a camera shoot out of the web shooters? They would try to be like, let's have a camera shoot out of the web shooters and do some
or
kind
like
of crazy
also
shit.
I think that, have you guys seen the movie Ambulance by Michael Bay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay,
cool. Drone shots.
But like I know there's this one shot of like where like they use like a drone. I think that would be cool for a Spider-Man movie.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have to use drone shots because that's what a lot of people are using now.
I think you've got to make these next Spider-Man movies feel different from what John Watts did, because like story-wise, tonally, it should feel different because Spider-Man's in a very different place than he was originally. You know, it's got to feel different.
It's not going to be friendly neighborhood Spider-Man anymore. It's Spider-Man alone in a city now. You know, so you have to make it a little bit more cinematic, and I think those two could actually do something like that. And you just got to like have like a different feel. And yeah, they would, if they are actually going to be doing Spider-Man. Yeah, you can expect some crazy, camera work that's going to probably disorient some people where they have to take a fucking motion sickness.
Yeah, they're going to have to get
before that.
This morning.
Yeah. And I'm all for that. I think those guys are
then you can do the marketing for it. You can have like people, the theater attendees, like hand out Spider-Man themed puke bags. Be like, get ready.
Jeez. You could add that to all that. But yeah, I think that was pretty much everything that Kevin Feige said. If Avengers Infinity War is a 9 and Avengers Endgame is a 10, Deadpool and Wolverine is an 8 in the terms of how impactful it will be on the future of Marvel Cinematic Universe. That was another quote from Kevin Feige tonight that got posted. So, I mean, obviously talking a lot about Deadpool and Wolverine, which is what the whole press thing was all about tonight, which is cool. I'm glad that it was kind of funny because I knew that they were going to be talking tonight about that, but I did not expect all this coverage. I thought,
he's been a lot more. He's been a lot more talkative lately than he has in other press tours.
Well, he needs to be.
Yeah, I think he's trying to be more transparent. I think also too he's trying to talk ahead of Comic-Con because that panel's only for like an hour. So I think it's just like they got to get up and go. You know, they want to get out as much.
Oh, I agree.
This is like when it comes to July, it's their biggest month because of how Marvel Studios has been right now, where it's just kind of been like, oh, we don't know what, you know, it doesn't. They're trying to figure out exactly after Endgame, it just was like, all right, let's try this. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try this. So now when it comes to Deadpool and Wolverine, which is essentially what we're like, 5 years later after Endgame, right? And now it's like, I mean, not that every Marvel Studios, you know, movie has been a flop, but there's been flops. Finally,
last year was probably their worst.
The Marvels and Ant-Man and Quantumania. But at the same time, it's like now it's, you know, you have a golden goose that is Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, you know, this movie is going to be, you know, and I mean, we're not. It was kind of funny because last night on the Vox stream, you know, not even Steven was fully convinced that it's going to make $1 billion. But I'm like,
I'm not
you know,
either.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. It's like there's still us here that are kind of going. I think it has potential.
Absolutely, it has potential.
Like, I don't even think Deadpool needs to make $1 billion. I mean, I'm not sure if he wants it to make, but like,
it will exceed 800 million tops. Like it will. I'm not tops, but you know, it will at least make over 800 million. I'm going to be very curious to see the opening weekend and seeing how much it pulls worldwide. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's over 400 million, like, or not even 300 to 400 million.
Yeah,
I'm going to guess.
Either way, this movie's making a ton of money.
Oh, it's going to make a ton of money.
Yeah, and I think also what would be the big factor would be the China market.
Oh,
for Deadpool and Wolverine, for sure.
Yeah, they luckily got that China market because sometimes they get a little stingy. It's like, hey, you can't have that.
I just hope it's a good movie. I mean, like, my expectations aren't like this is gonna be the best Marvel movie ever. I just want a good movie. Like, that's all you know. Like,
that's the way you have to approach it. It's like you don't want it to be the best. You just want it to be like, hey, this is Deadpool. Got Hugh Jackman back. It's gonna be in. I remember I was
rated R. Who would have thought we got all those three things in the MCU?
It's funny because I was talking to my coworker on Friday because he's kind of into like movies and stuff like that, and I was talking to him. I told him, I was like, hey, because we've kind of talked about movies and stuff, and I told him, I was like, hey, have you seen the new Deadpool and Wolverine trailer? He goes, no, I didn't know that. I'm like, well, be careful because there is a spoiler in there if you watch it. And he goes, well, I'm not too familiar with the X-Men movies, and I just watched it, and so I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, oh, okay. Good. You don't know. But then I was like telling him like, hey, I heard like people have seen like the first like 40 minutes. It's been hyped. And then he goes, yeah, so what's the deal with the whole Mad Max Fury Road element? I went, well, apparently that's just kind of like Deadpool killing the Fox universe. So you're going to have a lot of cameos in that opening sequence where the Fox universe is going to be just showing up. And it's almost like him just like they're wiping out that universe because now Deadpool is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he goes, oh, okay, that makes sense. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, it's just always funny to talk to like coworkers because
they don't
know I do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, don't even try explaining what a TVA is or what a void is or
wasn't gonna talk about that kid.
What's a Nubian?
That's a great pull, Chris. I love that.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean,
that's the thing.
Are you guys doing X-Men movie rewatches before Deadpool, or are you just gonna kind of be like, I've seen those movies?
I've seen them so many times. Nah, I don't need to do it.
I might.
I've done a partial one. We're still working on that through Marvel Alliance Patreon.
Yeah, you guys have done.
I might watch Origins again just for shits and giggles. I don't know.
That movie's not that.
You're gonna get giggles.
I'm gonna laugh at it.
Oh, Axel, he's a Origins defender right here. Look.
I just don't think it's that bad. Like the only criticism I've ever heard for that movie is the CGI flaws and Deadpool.
Yeah. Same.
You know
Same,
what? I will admit that to me, it's not. I think that like it was kind of funny because I think it was yesterday on the timeline. Remember when in X2 they briefly show Wolverine's origin, and there's like a shot of him where he like when he sees his claws and he's all bloody, and he's like,
Covered in blood, yeah.
Yeah, and they showed that shot, and somebody was all, "Why does this have more sauce than Origins?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it does. I'll give it that." Like when it came to the actual origin, even though that shot of Hugh Jackman just like rising up from like that water, and he's just like,
cool shot.
I thought that was cool, but then when it came to the rest of it, I went, all right, that's very
yeah. Because like, look, when I saw Origins, look, I wasn't really like a X-Men comics aficionado. I didn't know much about Deadpool and all that. I just found it a very entertaining movie. Now, knowing Deadpool and loving the Deadpool that we have, I get it. Like that climax is kind of BS, but it's just as a film unto itself. It's super entertaining. It's enjoyable.
Yeah,
yeah.
And they also filmed that fight scene on near the city I live in. Like it's called Cockatoo Island. It's pretty cool.
Hey, I grew up near 3 Mile Island, so that was nice.
Yeah. I'll always give X-Men Origins credit, though. It did give us one of the best superhero video games ever made. The tie-in video game for
I
X-Men
agree with you,
Wolverine is better than the movie. It's great.
Yeah.
I agree with you there,
played
RJ. I agree with you there.
Never played it, but at the same time, the opening scene, like I remember,
yes,
when it came to especially Ryan Reynolds and Wade Wilson. I mean, obviously it was, a little bit different, but at the same time, I remember just going, all right. I mean, it's there. Like again, it was like one of those things where it's like, if we're gonna have an actual legit Deadpool, it seemed like Ryan Reynolds was gonna be the guy to do it because even in that opening scene, I mean, he had those sarcastic comments of just like, I love it when he goes and slices all the bullets and fucks everybody up, and he goes, "All right,
people are dead."
Yeah.
Okay.
And I love and there's also like a subtle moment where right after he says that, and then the head is like, if you didn't have that mouth of you, Wade, you would be the perfect soldier. And he gives a salute, and then he just goes, whatever.
And he goes, he just like a fucking
it's all foreshadowing too. But maybe this is a dumb question, right? But like, has anyone gone out and explained why they made the choices they did with Deadpool at the end of that movie? We know they did.
I think I saw the behind the scenes featurette, and one of the producers, she said, well, we didn't want to give him the mask, but we wanted his face to look like the mask of Deadpool. So that's why, if you look at his face, he does have around his eyes, it looks like kind of like how the mask is. And then of course his mouth is covered, so they were trying to make his skin and everything look like the Deadpool mask, and that was a choice that was fucking stupid as all hell.
I wish they could have just used the ultimate Deadpool, from the Ultimate Comics.
Well, here's the thing, you don't have to put him in the suit, but just leave him make his skin all wrinkly or something. Give him some paint around the eyes or something.
Well, there was numerous concept arts that were shown.
Well, some of the have you seen some of the concept arts?
Oh yeah, they were all they were horror movies.
Yeah. I mean, it was just.
Hey, we got Harry showing up right now. What's going on, buddy?
Hey guys.
Hey guys. Associate producer, our executive producer.
Yeah.
What am I in charge of again?
Yeah, nothing. That's all. The work's done. You had the name.
Yeah.
Oh, those are the best jobs.
Exactly.
Yeah. But again, I really feel what they described about, well, we didn't want to give him the suit. Well, why not? Well, for the same reason they gave all the X-Men leather uniforms. Because they thought that giving them the comic accurate suits would be corny. So we got to make it look edgy or real.
Didn't Feige just say recently that he was inspired by the Matrix and stuff?
Well, yeah,
not him. It was the other. It was the studio head.
Yeah.
There's also always the thing of there was just if there was anything that would cover the actor's face, they didn't want to do that, for too long.
Oh wait, I showed the wrong thing. Sorry.
That's all good in the hood.
Yeah. Wait, it was this right here that I wanted to show. This was all the different Deadpool concepts.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so freaking frightening.
Wow.
So frightening.
Only a face a mother could love.
See, this is
Oh
why,
my God.
like, I wanted for research purposes, I want to look at the brain of studio executives just to see like what makes them think the things they do sometimes. Because
They have no idea what the fuck they're doing. This was it's so funny because I typed in Deadpool concepts and I did a video about it and I made a thumbnail and that was my thumbnail right there.
By the way, the guy who was running Fox at the time when this movie was coming out, the executive who had a big hand in this movie, Tom Rothman, he's running Sony right now.
Yeah, how about that?
He's pretty involved with the Spider-Man universe over there. So
can I comment on that for a little bit?
Yeah,
the Tom Rothman. So remember when a few years ago there was that executives roundtable with Variety that Toby Emmerich and a bunch of other people were on, and that's the one where someone complimented 300 and Zack Snyder, and Toby Emmerich just kind of sat there, and all the Snyder fans kind of like see how awkward he looks, kind of thing, because everyone else is praising Snyder. Remember that bit?
Yeah.
At that same roundtable, Tom Rothman is there, as well as I think it was Scott Stuber. It was the guy. It was someone at Netflix, and they were talking about how the reason for why superheroes are so popular and so dominant. They're more modern mythology. They're kind of like he equated them with literature. And Rothman is like, no, they're not. They're absolutely not. I used to be an English teacher. There's no way you can convince me comic books and comic book characters can be equated to like Tale of Two Cities or Shakespeare or anything like that.
Wow.
So he was extremely adamant at that moment.
That explains so much.
And this is a guy who was making creative decisions related to X-Men related things at Fox and obviously over. I think that's honestly one of the reasons, in my opinion, why I think the Spider-Verse without Spider-Man at Sony has gone the way it has, because you have a guy at the top who just doesn't take superhero comic book content seriously.
I mean, it's the exact same thing that like Zack Snyder was describing about what was it he said, like this BS that the exec set up, something about Krypton. It's like, well, why can't he go back? Wouldn't you want to go back to Krypton? He blew it up, dude. Did you not pay attention?
Yeah,
there's that. It's kind of funny too, because one of the concepts is like of Superman going back to Krypton to find anything. I mean, we just kind of talked about in Superman in the animated series, where it's lost little girl lost. I always get the thing mixed up. This is where they introduce Supergirl in Superman in the animated series, and it's kind of funny because it starts off the first part with Superman going off on the ship and trying to find any kind of something for Krypton, and he sees it and he's like, it's all dead, it's whatever. And then of course there's a sister planet, I forgot what the planet is called.
Daxamite.
There you go. And then he finds Kara, but of course they call her Kara in the animated series, which kind of threw me off. I'm more of a Kara than a Kara. Tomato.
So Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. These character names get rearranged, but at the same time, it's just like it was kind of funny because then we made the correlation to, wow, this is kind of like how the beginning of Superman Returns kind of stole from that, because all of a sudden it's like, remember Clark was, but it didn't take 5 years like it was talked about in Superman Returns. It was just like a thing, and then all of a sudden like Kara is just like, oh yeah, she's back on Earth and she's on the farm and she's flying around and doing all that stuff. It's just kind of funny when you see how the different approaches to this content, where you had the animated series that had to condense things down to like these small episodes, and then you had Superman Returns, who kind of took that same concept of Superman going out to find anything from Krypton. Didn't find it, comes back, crashes down, and then that just starts the Superman Returns, but it's 5 years later, as opposed to, I don't know where I was going with this, but
then there's also like, Superman, Batman, Apocalypse, where Kara crashes right in Gotham City, and then Clark's like, oh shit, there's another person like me, hot damn. Yeah, definitely.
And then even Zach kind of put like a little Easter egg of something. What was in that open fucking pod that we saw?
He still hasn't explained it. He said that there's a big Easter egg that explains everything, but we still haven't figured it out, and he's still not saying anything.
He lied.
And it could be very well be that. I mean, a lot of people have always been like, that's his Supergirl that was in there, maybe. I don't know, but
or maybe Supergirl has something to do with the Kryptonian colonies.
Could be that too. I mean,
talked about Man of Steel. At least that was been my idea for a long time.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a DC question, but Chris, I think you gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
stayed up till a little late last night with Dave and.
What? I don't do that. What are you talking about? Stayed up.
Yeah, it was more than worth it.
Indubitably.
All right.
All right.
It's always great talking to you.
Have a good night.
All right.
Later.
Chris,
yeah.
Yeah, because I know we were talking about the Marvel Comic-Con stuff, and I wanted to ask if you guys think that there's going to be anything, because really the biggest panel that DC has is the Penguin panel, and I wanted to know if you guys thought there would be anything extra there.
I hope so. I'm like fingers crossed. I mean, somebody's got to. If Matt Reeves is going to be there, he's got to talk a little bit of Batman too, right?
There's one person who's saying that they're going to announce some kind of casting announcement, and that's Grace Randolph, and you know how that is. It's like it's kind of a crap suit, you know. That's like you have one person saying that there's going to be some kind of announcement at that panel, but it's like.
Yeah,
I mean, Reeves is going to have at least 2 opportunities because he's on the panel for the Cape Crusader animated series as well as the Penguin, and the Penguin is the one that's going to be in Hall H with the most number of people on Saturday. You know, as people are with Marvel capping the day more or less. So if there ever was a place to make an announcement of a casting announcement or make an announcement about something related to Batman 2, then that would be the place to do it.
Yeah,
dude,
I don't see that happening because that would just take away too much from the Penguin.
But I can see it being like a last question that whoever the moderator is, like if there's like as in like the last 5 minutes or something like that, I could see that happening.
I mean,
someone's gonna ask, "Is your Batman movie gonna be canceled, or is Batman gonna be in the DCU?"
When it comes to building up something, it's like I'm not saying that you have to like do a whole, hey, the cast is all here and whatever the fuck, but if you just do something where you go, oh yeah, and then maybe show the title, like if he has a title, like a title for the Batman Part 2, show the logo or something, just something as small as that, where people go, oh my god, it's called the Batman blah blah blah, whatever the fuck it's called.
Maybe there's concept art for an updated bat suit or something like that.
Could be something like to me, I'm going, all right, DC, you need something. You need something here too, because Marvel is coming with the goods. They're coming with the goods, and I get it. It's not supposed to be like a full-on competition, but it's always going to be a competition, of course. And if James Gunn's not going to be there and promoting any kind of DCU stuff, there's going to be a little DCU stuff.
Matt Reeves have Comic-Con to himself this year.
Exactly. Yeah. So Matt Reeves should promote the shit that he's doing, and I'm just kind of hoping that can we get at least like a logo and a title, and it would be crazy if like the title was like blue and fucking wrapped in ice or fucking clay or I don't know.
Yeah, a tease of. I mean, if he does say something at the Penguin panel, maybe the announcement would tie into Batman 2, but also Penguin. Like maybe a character
exactly
Penguin that'll be in Batman 2. And you can say that,
That's what I'm talking about. You don't take away from the Penguin. You don't, yeah.
Well, give credit to Phil's, skepticism. Like HBO has had panels for different things in the past, whether it's House of the Dragon or Westworld and things like that. So my hunch is they're going to treat it more because Penguin is an HBO show. So they're going to treat it a little bit more like that. So so those tend to not have quite the level of hype and fanfare that usually is there surrounding compared to like when DC is there and does a good job of promoting their stuff. Like an HBO show just doesn't quite get that level of intensity. Also, unfortunately, they've had a bad history of getting really terrible moderators for their HBO shows. Like for House of the, it was before the show came out, so no one knew who the characters were. No one knew what the show was. But that panel for a panel that has Matt Smith on it, like, and all these other actors, it was like one of the more boring panels. And House of the Dragon is such an awesome show. Or like Westworld a few years ago, when it was like before Westworld season 2, like the first half of it, the moderator was asking all these more like, very abstract philosophical questions about, artificial intelligence and, robot intelligence and things like that, of like mainly just Jonathan Nolan and his wife, and the rest of the cast is sitting there bored, so like eventually they kind of hijacked the whole thing and just had a conversation amongst themselves, which was far more interesting. But that just shows you, like, whoever has picked the moderators for the HBO shows has not done a good job in the last 5 years. So hopefully it's someone really, really good who knows how to steer the conversation well, and maybe gives Matt Reeves a chance in the last 2 or 3 minutes to say, hey, and we've talked about the Penguin. We know this connects to your Batman movie. Is there anything you can tell us? And they ended it with that.
Do you think maybe DC is having a more subdued Comic-Con presence this year also because they went all out back in 2022 and they really pushed Shazam and Black Adam hard? It just didn't work out. They're kind of like, let's kind of sit this one out and just do a smaller one this time.
But at the same time, it's like all Matt Reeves has to do is just do something very simple to just be like, hey, look at this right here, and show that, and it would probably blow up. It will blow up on the internet for sure. I mean, look what happened when it came to the DC fandom, and they're like, hey, here's a teaser. We're only 25 to 30% done with this movie, but here's a teaser, and that was the biggest teaser of the DC fandom, even with Zack Snyder's Justice League being a part of it too. I mean, that thing was, the first DC fandom was so big, but everybody, even Zach, because we talked to him that night on a stream where he was like, did you see the fucking trailer, the teaser? Everybody was talking about that teaser that night. And it's like Matt Reeves, come on, dude. And DC and Warner Brothers, come on. You realize the buzz that was created when that first teaser came out, and everybody was freaking out about it. So you have to talk about the Penguin. Obviously it's going to be all about that, but also, there's got to be something that's going to lead that into the Batman Part 2. And I just hope they're just show a title, show something, I'm not saying there's footage, but maybe there would be something. I don't know. It's just
animatics,
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, it's mind-boggling that we're only getting 2 live action stuff at San Diego Comic-Con this year, which is one of them is Superman and Lois.
DC? Yeah,
and the other one being the Penguin. It's
nothing about the Joker, right? Nothing about the Joker.
They didn't bring the Joker the year that they DC in 20. When was it? It might be
2019.
It was 2019 is the year they probably could have brought the Joker. Wasn't that also Project Comic? No, that wasn't Project Comic-Con.
Releasing the second Joker trailer that week, but not at Comic-Con. They don't want to go to Comic-Con, but they'll drop the trailer that week.
They don't look at the Joker movie like a comic book movie. That's why they're not taking it to Comic-Con.
Yeah,
they wanted to play on the festival film festival,
right?
Circuits.
Cannes and Venice Film Fest. That's probably where they're probably going to play it. Maybe TIFF. They might show it off at TIFF in September.
It's so weird. It's so weird. It's weird to me.
Then again, that's probably not even a DC Studios decision. That's probably a Todd Phillips decision. That's my guess. I don't know. Because James Gunn just said today that he's got a few more weeks left of shooting of Superman, and I think the timing of they wrap filming in Cleveland this week, and they're about to go to Georgia next week. They got to get on a plane. That's some pretty interesting coincidental timing. I'm not saying anything's going to happen, but if it did happen, I'd be kind of surprised. Doubt it'll happen. We'll see.
Aren't they gonna? They're gonna film. I think they're gonna film in Cincinnati at that whatchamacallit place.
Yeah, I've never fully bought whatever the logic for James Gunn is in saying, "Oh, we're shooting. I'm not going to be at Comic-Con." It's okay, wait a minute. The very first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, you had literally been they told us they said at Comic-Con in 2013.
14. No, you're right. 13. You're right.
2013. Yeah. So they said they flew everyone, the cast, from London. They'd been filming in London. They flew him out that Saturday to be there at Comic-Con that Saturday. They said, we've only been filming for 10 days, but here's what we got. And then they got on a plane that night and flew back.
Okay,
So,
but in fairness, that's Disney's bankroll. Look at Warner Brothers' bankroll.
Yes, that's why I'm making this hand gesture right now.
Well, I was gonna say too,
money.
The way the Marvel machine works, they have literally, and you can look it up too. Like they literally will plan their shooting schedules around Comic-Con or around trailers.
Yep.
They will literally film stuff that goes in the trailers first.
So yeah, so but at the same time, like, so that's the question of how the studio wants to allocate its funds for sure. But like, but I also think I just don't think, in my opinion, like using we're too busy shooting is not a valid excuse. It's like you're busy shooting Guardians of the Galaxy. You're able to show footage from 10 days worth of a shoot.
Totally with you on that. Yeah.
What's that?
I'm totally with you on that.
Well,
they should show something. Something.
But I mean, I just think there's just something about Warner Brothers historically has just not valued Comic-Con the way that like Marvel Studios or other people do.
Well, they did when Snyder was involved.
When Zach was doing, Zach made a hype about it for sure.
Yeah,
Zach made a big deal about it. But that's he's like they never bothered to bring the Dark Knight or Nolan.
It's true.
The one year Nolan did show up was for Interstellar. They didn't announce that Paramount had a panel and it was just TBA as far as the details. And like the room is only half filled. It was on a Thursday afternoon. Matthew McConaughey walks out. They talk to him for 20 minutes and then Nolan comes out. If people at Comic-Con knew that Nolan and McConaughey were going to be on that panel, boy, you bet the room would have been packed.
Yeah.
But they didn't announce. They didn't make an announcement. And Nolan, I kind of wonder if Nolan went out. He's like, I don't think this Comic-Con thing is as big a deal as I've been led to believe, but because it's like no one said he was there, Well,
it's the same thing with Warner Brothers in the Super Bowl. They never market stuff at the Super Bowl, and the one time they did was for Flash, and didn't.
Yeah, look at how well that went for
them. Move the dial. Yeah.
No.
I don't know if I would get. I mean, you're right. I mean, like I don't know if I would. I don't know if it's a Super Bowl spot that didn't.
Oh no! I know. I'm just using that as an example of they don't view their marketing the same way other studios do, because other studios will go to Comic-Con or do Super Bowl stuff, but they don't.
Warner Brothers just doesn't know how to do a fucking cinematic universe. There's just no ifs or buts
I mean,
about that.
but at the same time, that's why we're kind of hoping that what we're getting right now is going to be something like that.
Well, that's just it. Like that's the difference now. Is that James Gunn now has the single autonomy to do what Zack Snyder was not allowed to do, because DC Studios is now its own fucking thing. It's not this rinky-dink bullshit owned by. Well, it's still owned by Warner Brothers, but Warner Brothers Pictures doesn't have to be like, oh, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, fuck that. James Gunn and Peter Safran are the ones being like, we're going to do it our way. Fuck all of you. It's our studio. We're going to do what we want.
Which is what should have been always the case. I mean, 100%. I think Zach kind of didn't want to. I mean, he's a filmmaker. He's not gonna. Anytime that I see people say oh yeah, Zach should be running this thing, or Deborah or something like that, I'm like, that's not what they wanted to do. They never wanted to run studios. They wanted to just make movies. So I always get sick and tired when I see people say oh yeah, Zach, Zach should have been running things.
Wait, Dave. Are you saying, Dave? I gotta ask.
Oh,
are you saying people speak for Zach?
Oh, of course.
A lot of oh
yeah.
People tend to all the time.
Yeah. I know, it pisses me off too.
Just like some people try and speak for James Gunn in the same vein. Yeah.
Oh yeah. People always try to speak for even Kevin Feige or fucking anybody. They try to be like, oh, this is what he's doing. It's like, how do you know that? You don't know this. And it's but I mean, I think one of the biggest things I kept seeing, especially before James Gunn, or even after, when I still see it, where they were like, Zach should have been running this thing. I'm like, Zach didn't want to run this thing. He didn't want to do it. He when he was coming up with ideas and stuff, he goes, hey, this is what I have. I have this arc that I want to do. Build off that. Let's do it like this, because they're not doing this over there. So build off that, and then they try to build off that, and then of course you have guy with the ball cap and other fucking assholes that are trying to be like, wait a minute, we want to make it like it's over there, and Zach was like, no, we're not doing it like it's over there, and that's where it got all fucked up, and that's where, and then of course they were trying to right the ship after Zach even left. They're like, hey, well let's have elements of what's already established, but let's take it to a new to new direction, and it didn't work either. And then it got to the point. That's where I just get to the point where I'm like, when James Gunn came in and was like, all right, we're just basically gonna just kind of reboot most of this stuff, and because we don't know what we're doing. I'm like, yeah, I totally get that. I'm like, yeah, just reboot the main core superheroes. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And you know what the worst part is, like you said, like let's take elements of it, but let's not actually continue. It's like I forget whether it was Steven or Scott. I think it was one of them who said, like, look, at that point in time, even with Zach gone, Warner Brothers could have saved themselves a lot of headaches just by giving us Man of Steel 2.
Yeah, could have, but I mean, but at the same time, it might not have been the Man of Steel 2 that diehard fans.
More Henry Cavill as Superman is better than no Henry Cavill as Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
You look at it like that. You can look at it like that, but yeah, it would have been interesting to see what would have happened, what could have been. But these assholes were like trying to steer. They were trying to steer away from Snyderverse so much.
Yeah,
it just didn't work.
And it's
just
like,
hey, yeah.
And it's just another example of where executives who just don't believe in the viability of the property that they own. Like
it's all about business. That's the thing. Is like they wanted it to be Marvel Studios, and it wasn't Marvel Studios.
I go back to like Emmerich in 2018 before the first Aquaman came out, and he was being interviewed. I forget by whom. And it was a print interview, and they asked him, like, what are you most excited about Aquaman for? And he's like, the fact that it's going to make its release date. And they had to follow up and say, okay, let me rephrase. What excites you about Aquaman creatively? And he had to then spitball some answer, but like, Kevin, that's just to use the obvious comparison of Kevin Feige, like that, the contrast, the massive difference between being a studio executive from one place to the other and from one person to the other. Like Kevin Feige wouldn't have said, oh, we're making its release date. That's what I'm most excited. He'd be like, oh, I'm so excited for audience to get to meet this character that's been around in comics for 50 years, has a core fan base, but general audiences didn't know him, but they're going to know him now. Like that's how Feige would answer. And he'd have enthusiasm and excitement behind that. Whereas Emmerich's like, we're finally making our release date. And like in charge of the studio. Like it's just historically Warner Brothers has not really, they only care about the business side of it. They don't care about the creative or the storytelling side of it at all. They don't care about giving credit to the power of the IP and why people have been fans of these characters for as long as they have.
Which is kind of ironic, because if you're so big on the business, if the big director of the Mission Impossible movies wants to do a Man of Steel movie for you, that should be easy money, but they just didn't call him back.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
It's not so much they didn't call him back; they just flat out told him we're good.
Well, I think right now it's like you kind of hope that they have somebody in charge who is a fan. Some people may not like the stuff that he's a fan of in terms of DC Comics or like his sensibilities as a filmmaker, but you have someone in there who's given power and creative control and who is a fan. That hopefully there will be some structure now, and there will be at least some semblance of cohesion when there hasn't been before.
Yeah.
Sure. And you know what? To that end, as someone who's not really a big fan of the guy making the Superman movie and not a fan of 2 of his 4 comic book movies, like I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that yes, he has now seen how Warner Brothers operates and how Marvel Studios operates. So I would certainly hope that he has an idea of what will make DC Studios successful and opposite to Marvel Studios. That's my hope. I'm hoping that is the case.
That's what I've always said when it comes to him. I'm like, he's seen both, now, especially Marvel Studios. He goes, okay, I've seen what works and what doesn't. So let me bring that over here, and I'm going to try to do something different. And
supposedly, like from what I've heard, apparently like you mentioned, Carrie, how Kevin Feige was all about the creative juices. Like, what do you have for me creatively? And from what I'd heard, like that distinction, like was held, I believe, like especially in his when they brought in James Gunn to do Guardians, that's what turned this whole Marvel Phase 1 and 2 is on into the Infinity Saga, because apparently it was just all Feige knew for sure was we have Thanos and he's going to be our big bad, but to introduce Thanos, it has to be through Guardians of the Galaxy. So he brought in Gunn and says, okay, we got to find a way to bring in Thanos, and we got to tie all this together with him as the big bad. What can you give me? And he goes, well, the Infinity Stones.
Well, no, the tie-in, because the Thanos was introduced at the end with the post-credit scene of the first event, or mid-credit scene of the first event.
With Avengers, but it's like in order to establish who he is as a character, you got to do it through the Guardians.
And Gunn, I think, said around that time for some reason, I don't know why he said it this way, that was the hardest thing for him to incorporate into his script. Like, he did say, like, he had a really hard time thinking through that one, but I'm like, that when you watch it on screen, I'm like, that doesn't seem like it's that hard to incorporate. That's
you'd have to wonder if maybe they wanted more out of it, or if that was all he could come up with. I mean, the fact of the matter is, you had a character who had direct ties to Thanos, and the guy making the movie was like, "This is a little difficult." Was it really? Because you pulled it off.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But again, it's an issue of like a good creator like makes it look easy.
Yeah. I mean, and again, it's like the thing is like James Gunn knows his source material, but at the same time, it's like translating that to the big screen. That is the difficult aspect of everything. I mean, Guardians worked, and kudos to him for doing it. But at the same time, you already had Marvel Studios, which was already blowing up. So pretty much everybody was going to be like okay about it. But at the same time, I mean, I know there's that argument where people go like, well, it was already established, and so it was already. But at the same time, but even if things are established, if you don't execute it correctly, you're going to fall flat. So he still did execute Guardians of the Galaxy very, pretty perfectly for all that. So now when it comes to DC Studios and Superman, now it's a different challenge of like, wow, you're taking Superman and trying to do something different this time around. And from what we're seeing, it's like, okay, it is different because it's already an established world that Superman exists in, and he's still trying to find his way through it. And I totally love that because we have not seen that before. It's not just, hey, it's just Superman in the world and he's just a superhero and that's it. Now it's like a whole thing. So I'm going, all right. From what we've seen, I'm like, I'm intrigued, but at the same time, I'm also going, God, there is a lot riding on the execution of this. Mm-hmm. And do I fully have faith in James Gunn? No, I don't. It's a fucking difficult task, but to have him at the helm, I'm going, all right, well, this guy does know his shit when it comes to comic books, so maybe.
My perspective
is
I have faith in him creatively. I don't have faith in Warner Brothers' stability as a company.
But see, there's that too. There's that aspect too, where you got David Zaslav overhead going, But at the same time, I think David Zaslav, it's just going, I need to like get this thing where it seems like it's a shiny object so I can resell it. Yep. I think that's what David Zaslav is doing. He's like waiting for Warner Brothers to look shiny as all hell, so then he could sell it to somebody else. He's trying to flip this thing. Exactly. He's trying to he came in to flip this thing, and he's still waiting for the renovations of everything to where it looks good to flip. So hopefully, that's why I think like when it comes to DC Studios and what's happening with James Gunn, he's not going to touch that because he's like going, all right, I think this is going to help, and some things over here are going to help. So once everything looks shiny, I can flip this and sell it to somebody else.
Which does beg for the question of the whole like why the Wile E. Coyote thing wasn't released, but still because the Looney Tunes is the premier IP of Warner Brothers. I mean, the whole logo often had Bugs Bunny in it.
I mean, Mickey hasn't had anything on the Disney side for a long time, so.
Well, it has, but the modern animated shows don't exactly look the best, but still.
I don't know. I'd argue that DC is probably the more prominent Warner Brothers IP at this point than Looney Tunes.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably is. But
the big question mark, and I'm trying to say as little as I possibly can as far as my feelings on Gunn and DC and everything like that. But my big question mark is, he's talked a lot about how much he loves Grant Morrison and that side of DC that, let's be honest, is oftentimes more weird than anything else.
Yeah.
And kind of really out there ideas. Grant Morrison's a brilliant writer, but he's got some really strange, weird ideas that, I don't know how much a general audience will appreciate. I mean, Gunn was able to make The Guardians, which is, I don't know if weird, but definitely cosmic and definitely out there. He was able to make it relatable, but I think he did that through the the emotional journey of characters like Peter Quill and Rocket and whatnot. I don't know how well. I mean, maybe he can, maybe he can't. I don't know. So it's just more my big question mark. Okay, if you're going to lean this heavily on Grant Morrison related DC material to inform your universe, how much is the general audience going to latch on to that? To me, that is a really, really massive series of question marks that could, if there's a spot where you could hypothetically point to it not working, I think that is one area where it might, where you could. If you lean too heavily on like the weird and abstract, like me, I don't know, even me as a comic book fan, like, again, Morrison's a brilliant writer, but he's not my flavor. My flavor of DC is much more Scott Snyder, Ed Brubaker,
Greg, he worked on Doom Patrol, right?
What? Yeah,
Grant Morrison. Yeah, he reinvented Doom Patrol.
Yeah. Like the show, like I tried watching it. It's good, but it was just a bit too crazy.
It was too weird for me. I'm one of those people who I watched the first season, and by the final episode, I was like, I'm out.
Yeah, the Doom Patrol that show made was largely based off of the stuff Grant Morrison wrote way back in the day when he first started at DC. Like a large portion of the Doom Patrol is inherently from Grant Morrison's run.
I think it's like Guardians. Awesome. Just like Guardians, I think he'll definitely be inspired by certain comics that he feels passionate about, but I do think it's probably just going to go in its own direction.
I mean, look at that first movie. That first movie is basically the Annihilation run, more or less.
But with Ronan.
Yeah, with Ronan the Accuser.
And again, who knows how it'll play out, but as much as he was kind of able to make Guardians according to his sensibilities, he was still part of a larger sandbox. So there was always, I mean, I think he's spoken pretty positively. He's spoken very overwhelmingly positively about his experience at Marvel, but he's also, there were guardrails on him for sure. Not enough.
Now he doesn't have
not enough that creatively hindered him, I don't think, but there were.
I would say he had the least amount of guardrail than any other director outside of maybe like Sam Raimi and the Russos. Those three probably had the least amount of, I wouldn't say interference, but just like you need to keep it this way. And no, I think James Gunn, the Russos, probably John Watts, Sam Raimi, like all of them were pretty much allowed free reign to do whatever the hell they wanted with their.
I'd include Ryan Coogler in that too.
Yeah, and you know what? Fucking Taika Waititi probably as well.
We don't talk about that.
I'm just saying, like unfiltered directors in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's only a handful you can pick, and he's probably one of them.
And then they realized we should have put more guardrails on him for the second movie.
Yeah.
So.
He should have had guardrails the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Russo brothers are concerned, the one exception to that was when they had plans for a Captain America 3. I think it was like Serpent Society, and then Kevin Feige went into their office and goes, "Hey guys, Civil War."
No.
I don't think the Serpent Society thing was ever that.
No, what happened was the Russos wanted to do Civil War. They got turned down because Ike Perlmutter was like, "I don't want to pay Robert Downey Jr. this amount of money to come back. You kidding me?" And then they had that big old fight about it, and then they broke up over that. It's like, Then Feige was like, "You know what? Let's go back to that Civil War idea. I like that."
Not only that, they deliberately greenlit Civil War because Warner Brothers was doing Batman versus Superman.
Yeah,
wasn't BVS meant to be like 2 parts?
No.
Yes. No, there was a rumor of that.
That was a rumor.
No, somebody made a fake picture of all that.
Yeah, that was a rumor.
Yeah, Enter the Night, Dawn of Justice, which would have been cool, but no.
I mean, the Russos
what
nearly
was the original
walked
title?
away.
Son of the Sun versus Night of or something. What was that title?
Yeah. It was Enter the Night and then Dawn of Justice. That was the alleged.
Yeah.
I mean, the Russos nearly walked from Civil War because they wanted to at the conclusion of it to be the conflict between Tony and Cap. They wanted that to be the third act. They want to mess with the third act structure, but like the creative committee said, no, you got to have all the Avengers rally again together and fight the five Winter Soldiers here. They didn't like that idea because they're like, everyone's going to expect that. All the audience knows what that flavor is. So they didn't want to do that. I think that's one of the many events that led to Iger saying, okay, Kevin Feige no longer reports to Perlmutter, the creative committee. He now reports only to me. So now he's got the freedom to give the Russos the license and their creative because Feige trusted them.
Yeah. I will say though, when it comes to subverting expectations, I've only got 3 words for that. The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
No one's
Feige's a better studio head than Kathleen Kennedy is, I think, in that regard.
Yeah, but it's like, but as far as subverting expectations, all I gotta say is like when I first saw like Civil War, I was like, I liked the first act, but then after that, it's like the second act was just sacrificing the story for fun, and then the third one was basically so you gave Tony a Martha moment, and no one saw the irony.
Civil War is it's like one of those movies where
I love Civil War. Great.
But the airport fight is so ugly to look at sometimes.
Oh hell no! I disagree with that heartily. I think it's still fantastic.
I mean, it's cool.
I still get such a thrill watching it.
It's fine, and I do like the fact that it did set up the break between Cap and Iron Man, or Tony and Steve, because I mean obviously Infinity War is like their best. That's where I think the Russo brothers peaked was Infinity War.
Well,
when it came to all this, but I mean, I love that line where because obviously Bruce, when he shows back up, he's like, we gotta go, and he goes, oh yeah, it's been a minute, and he's like, yeah, we kind of broke up, and like Tony's just like talking about we kind of broke up,
well,
and Bruce is like, you mean like the Beatles?
It was kind of funny. So it set up that whole thing where it's like, where Steve went off on his own thing, and he, did, and
it was a good lead-in too, because they were divided. They couldn't handle Thanos.
And then they had to come together to do this thing, and then they failed, which that's why it was. So that's what made Infinity War so great. Was like, oh my god, they failed. They fucking failed. What?
Failed.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of Civil War. It's just that the first act is great. Then everything after that, I look at it and it's like, it's such a mess. It could have been so much better.
It's not a mess. It's fantastic.
But
I'll defend that movie all the way.
Axel, I know you're gonna leave, but I know you got you wanted to show off this right here, that your final product.
And I did this really good. I did this one a few days ago, which I'm very proud of.
Nice, like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Good job, man.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah. Good job.
Yes.
All right.
Well, I do got to head off, so thanks for having me on, Dave. And stay good, everyone, and I'll catch you all later. See you.
All right. Take it
easy.
easy.
Have a good one.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Everything's always when it comes to genre, and this is why we keep talking about it. It's like the fact that you got these different creative voices that are just kind of coming in, and it's like, all right,
it never stays boring. There's always something weird or something interesting going on.
That's the thing. That's what I love about it. That's why I love talking about. I mean, I love movies so much. That's why I started this whole thing. And then little did I know, it was just going to be like when it came to, hey, I like superhero and comic book stuff, and then I was going to combine into this, and we've been talking about this shit for the last 8 years, 9 years, whatever the fuck it's been. It's been like, it's crazy how long this stuff, well, longer than that, because obviously 2008 was when Marvel Studios came to be, but at the same time, it was like, all right, it was still starting off. And then I think like it really started kicking into gear like in the 2010s. And then DC was like, hey, we got to do our thing. What are we doing here? And then Man of Steel came out, and it was like, oh boy, we got a different kind of.
Yeah, I think you can really trace the big comic book film boom all the way back to 2008 with the likes of The Dark Knight and Iron Man. And that really is like the true kickoff point to superhero cinema in a maybe a silver age, because I feel like the golden age kind of encompasses like the likes of Superman 78, Batman 89, and then that kind of goes all the way into maybe Batman and Robin, and Blade would maybe in essence kind of kick off the Silver Age, where you've got Blade, X-Men, Spider-Man, et cetera, and then you get to like Dark Knight and Iron Man, which I guess might maybe be more equatable to the Bronze Age. And I feel like now we're in more of the heroic age.
Yeah.
For going by comic book typical practice, you know, timelines and verbiage and things like that. Yeah. I don't know. That's maybe just the way I see it.
No, it's a good way to look at it. You should make a graphic, like a little map of that.
Maybe I should, huh? Yeah.
Oh, should. Yeah.
I mean, I think we can agree that the whole debacle over, the Snyderverse and, Justice League and the Snyder Cut could be considered a crisis. And then after that's post-crisis.
I don't know about that, but
it's a crisis of some kind.
It was a certain kind of crisis for sure.
Yeah.
But I think this is where we're going to end the stream, because I'm going to make some dinner and stuff like that. And I appreciate you guys joining. This has been great. Always great to do one of these Saturday streams and then bringing on people who are supporting the channel. And of course, thank you, Talati Plays. We got Eric and Carrie, and of course, RJ and, Phil, of course, also supporting the channel, and everybody supporting the channel. Thank you, Rhea. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Who just left?
Axel.
Yes, there you go. I was like, damn it. I was like, my brain went blank right there. But
the forgettable son. Yeah.
It's all good. We all love Axel.
Of course we do.
So, but at the same time, I'm like, I appreciate you guys for supporting the channel. Let's go around the horn, and if you got anything to promote, whether it's like something that's Comic-Con related or just anything that you're doing, we'll start with RJ.
Yeah, if you want to follow me, I'm over at Resident Justice, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, all the good stuff, YouTube as well. And I'll probably be doing some kind of stream Saturday night covering the Marvel panel at Comic-Con. So look out for that.
Cover it up. Yeah. And then, of course, Taladia.
So you can follow me on Twitter at TaladiaPlays_, and you can check me out on YouTube at Taladia Plays. I'll be doing live reactions to the finale for My Adventures with Superman today, because it is the finale, and I'll also will be doing next week a Comic-Con coverage and all of that next week, so I'll be doing that.
Sounds good. All right. And then, of course, Phil, anything?
Anyone wants to follow me pretty much everywhere except X, just search for Unfiltered. That's Vero, Threads, Instagram, and Blue Sky. I will be doing a live stream tomorrow for my show, The Eternal Night. I actually just dropped another episode of that today. They're mere hours ago. I will be at Comic-Con next week, so that'll be a lot of fun too. Probably be getting some updates there, probably more than likely through Threads. And I'll be meeting up with William and Rhea and a bunch of other people. We'll be chatting it up, talking about everything and anything comic book related, Comic-Con related. We'll probably even maybe do something after Deadpool and Wolverine after getting out of that on Thursday. Not really sure, but yeah, if anyone, feel free to follow me there. Oh, and I'm also on the 4 Nerds every Wednesday, but that's neither here nor there.
Eric.
All right. You can find me on Twitter, X, at Hardboiled Films. You can find me on YouTube is at Hardboiled Entertainment, and you can also find my my pieces on various films on American Daily Press. Where for this month I've been writing. You can find my articles on the Captain America trilogy, and to finish up the month soon, you will see my piece on Civil War, which I have a co-author, so it will be a very interesting approach to the film.
Nice. All right, Carrie.
My Twitter is still set to private for reasons. So if you really want to find me, ask Dave. He'll direct you. But next week I will also be at Comic-Con, and I'm very excited.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, so I'm excited. So hopefully, Phil, we'll run into each other and get to hang for a little bit here and there, if given the opportunity. So, yeah, I'll probably be tweeting, even though my tweets are private, but I'll still do something. I'm just excited for it. Period.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thank you guys. This has been fun. Great conversations, of course, and like I said, thank you to Chris, Axel. Thank you to Rhea. Am I missing anybody? That was it, right?
Chris, Ray, Axel. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that was it. All right. And of course, thank you everybody here. RJ, Taladia, we got Phil, Eric, and Carrie. We will talk to you guys later.